Warning: the voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy.
Today we gather to thank the Lord for this beautiful feast to the eyes that we are about to see. Boys, welcome back, viewers. It's round 2 of the DLC train today.
Joe, why the hell are we in the false prophet Andraste's house? Don't we have to go to Orlais with some red-headed elf voiced by a cosplayer? Why the hell are we doing an errand for the Human Noble 2.0? Don't you hate this guy and his surrogate mom?
Oh yeah, I do, but it's like a balance thing, you know. We have a lot of good content today, so we might as well balance it out and get some of the boring content out of the way first.
All right, Joe, that sounds like the biggest load of bullshit that has ever come out of your mouth. You're planning something here and you're being ominous about it because you know I have no concept of any of the downloadable content.
Oh, trust me, Donald, you'll figure out what Joe is up to in just a little. They are pretty on the nose with who it is. Also, thanks for starting without me again, assholes. You seem to make a trend of it. Like what even happened last episode when I left with George. You guys stayed for extra 2 minutes.
Don't worry about it. I was having trouble sorting through the inventory of what he needed for this episode, and Joe was helping me out, that's all.
You stay in your lane, Barry. It's nothing to worry about. Anyway, I am in a good mood today, so I will try not to bring up that now all of a sudden Althena wants us to do something. When in Act 2 she was insulting both Hawk and Sebastian for gallivanting off on acts of heroism.
It sounds like you did that anyway. So we might as well get into it. This is probably the second to last time we can even talk about her issues. Athena's threat detector seems to be way off here. She's underselling what Merida or Orsino can do to Kirkwall, saying they can try to destroy it, which implies the Templars couldn't raise Kirkwall to the ground if they wanted to. And overselling what the Divine's troops would do to Kirkwall, like, yes, the war could affect civilians. But you're making a lot of assumptions about the Divine's response based on historical evidence on a different Divine.
Given what we know about Victoria from both Inquisition and Leliana's song, not only is she a pretty anti-war person, and while she's not exactly Paragon, she definitely prefers sending agents or a small group to resolve the situation rather than a damn Exalted March.
Wait, Exalted March, why does that term sound kind of familiar?
Good call, Donald. Exalted March was the original title for the cut and final DLC for Dragon Age 2. It was essentially going to be the Trespasser of Dragon Age 2. It was going to be set in Starkhaven. We were going to be dealing with a qunari invasion in response to the Aeroshock incident. And the events of Mark of the Assassin essentially trying to put down another qunari invasion before the Divine orders another Exalted March on the free marches.
The DLC also would have had several marriages for your romance option.
Yeah, it would have closed out every companion's arc that was present in the March.
She is said to be the Divine's left hand, sent to do work that might blacken the Divine's
Also, here we go.
name.
Althena is about to reveal who we are meeting, so the cat is out of the bag now for you, Donald.
What the hell do you mean the cat is out of the bag? She didn't say her name, just a damn title. Plus, you know, I don't pay attention to the fake religion politics. Why would I know who is the hand of the Divine? As far as I know, we are meeting a damn Skyrim Nightingale.
Really, Donald, your favorite Dragon Age is Inquisition. How do you not know this?
I literally block out like 90% of the Chantry's bullshit unless it involves mage oppression.
Oh boy, the surprise is going to be peak for everyone. Then my body is so ready for this.
Wait a minute, Joe is happy to do a Sebastian quest. We are meeting a Chantry agent, and the area we are meeting her in is locked, which means for someone to get in, they need a lockpicker. Oh, God damn it. We are meeting the basic bard, aren't we?
Ding, ding, ding. I'm already bricked up.
Seriously, Donald, the locked door is what clued you in, and not her damn title or anything else?
Hop off again. I literally don't care about the fake religion politics, and doubly don't care about the basic bard unless she is opening POTUS's locked containers, or if it's about Morrigan. Also, Sebastian's quest always has to deal with curb stomping the robes. I swear to God, I love this guy.
Sebastian is probably ranked third on the pro-Templar side, right behind Fenris. It's an Aveline, so that does add up. Anyways, Joe, you're the mage main, you know what to do here, but pay attention to health bars. We don't have a tank in this fight.
Why don't we keep talking about Exalted March a little, Barry, like what happened to it and why it got canceled?
Okay, well, viewers, to put it bluntly, Frostbite Engine happened. At the same time as the expansion was in pre-production, Bioware was in process of making the Frostbite engine work with Inquisition, which proved difficult. Eventually, executive producer Mark Dara came to the conclusion that if they continued on the path they were on Exalted March and Inquisition, both would have suffered due to the budget available. And he made the call to cut the expansion. Even Gator was so hurt by this decision, he actually had to take a month off, and I don't blame him.
Another massive fumble of Dragon Age 2 that ultimately led to it being the most mid-game in the franchise.
This is getting pretty negative when this episode is supposed to be hype. The point we're making is the whole concept of an Exalted March here may have been a setup for the future expansion. But even in that expansion, the march happened over the qunari, not the Mage Templar War, so Althena is flat out wrong here.
I mean, I guess if Exalted March came out, she would have been made at least partially right. So writing-wise, I guess she isn't completely invalid for being scared of divine intervention. But still sending some paladins to take care of the rogues would have been far better than what does happen in Act 3.
Yeah, I am sort of in the middle about the setup here. I think I am leaning towards divine intervention being good simply because the three leaders of the Circle, Meredith, Orsino, and Elthina all kind of suck and make things worse.
Goddamn, these are some tanky rage demons that Blood Mage really died and left us to deal with these goddamn things. Oh, fuck, boys. Sniffers are returning. She's here. Leliana, my love.
I like to think POTUS taught her a thing or two about making an entrance.
Oh, my God. Mommy, I missed you so much. You are bark, 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 bark.
If you're wondering why Leliana has her Inquisition outfit instead of the Pirate Mage outfit Hawk wore in Act 2, it's because of a mod we will link in the description. We figured it makes more sense for her to wear her Inquisition armor, since she is on a mission for the divine.
I wish we could have been matching, but she still looks so goddamn good.
Joe, calm down, please. Meryl is right next to you. Control yourself.
Oh, my God. My two favorite wifeys are in the same room together, too. Oh, Lord, boys, I am about to bust. How many heads is he?
Joe, Jesus Christ, stop sipping over the B-tier Blood Mage and Bard. We just freed you from the Cory hold. You're supposed to be better.
Donald, if Isabella and Leliana banged in Origins, they reference it here and start flirting with each other.
Ow, Mommy Isabella, it's too much to handle. Ow, Stone.
Oh, God, kill me now.
The beacon has been lit, and I have been summoned, boys. What fresh gooning do we have going on today?
Bill, you are just in time. Leliana, Isabella, and Meryl are all in the same room. It's absolute cinema.
Sounds perfect. That means if we invite Zevron or one of the muscle mommies, there is one for each of us to enjoy.
Oh, God damn it, Bill, you have been here exactly 15 seconds, and you are already trying to get us demonetized again. We have a 2-hour video ahead of us. Our editor is going to need that monetization to keep the lights on.
Oh, chill out, Barry. I've seen those romance. Super thanks, there's plenty of money left to buy whole new lights. What's the 2 hours for, though? That seems excessive. This is Act 3, where every quest takes like 5 minutes.
Well, we are in our downloadable content era, Bill. I just spent the last 2 hours in Legacy last week, and now Joe is about to get marked by an assassin or a qunari or some shit. I don't know. I never put money in this game, so I am going in blind.
We're visiting a fantasy French party filled with gorgeous redheads. Count me in, boys. I will bring the vegetable oil and the iron pry bar if there are any qunari nearby who want to nuzzle.
Okay, that one was more tasteful, but Bill, if you are going to stay around, you need to tone it down about 15% for both my sanity and YouTube guidelines.
Okay, Barry, I love you, but hop off. It's my episode, and we had George here last time. So if I want Bill here during my episode, I should be allowed to. Besides, the more people here, the more lore theories we can cook up.
All right, that's fair, Joe, although I am almost positive you want Bill here so you can use him as a wingman for Talus, or to sing her a song later, but all right, for the lore theories, Bill, welcome to the party.
Obama, what was this whole resolutionist yap that the basic bard was saying? It sounded like a pretty heavy plot point.
Oh, I know, Barry. Why don't I take this one to earn my keep and prove I can be business for the boys, too?
You know what, Bill? Sure, go off.
All right, Donald, I'm sure by now Obama has talked to death about the circle fraternities that mages join to give themselves a voice on how the circle should be run. The main relevant one for our discussion is the Libertarian faction, who most notably Uldred is a part of, as they want to break away from the circle entirely and allow mages to govern themselves. The Resolutionists are a subgroup of libertarians that believe in using violent methods to disband the circle, and they have currently set their sights on the Kirkwall Circle as their current mark. They are behind the mage outbreak you learn about in the first Act 3 quest, and they are the reason Leliana is even here.
Thank you, Bill. It's also important to note that this is the only mention of fraternities in Dragon Age 2 as a whole because of the writing changes between Origins, and who wrote Circle lore. Certain topics fell through the cracks. You could chalk this up to fraternities not being allowed in Kirkwall under Meredith, but that smells like coke.
Anyways, does that call it for the quest? I noticed a distinct lack of any story from Sebastian during this entire quest. This was more about the basic bard and Elthina than anything else.
It just closes the book on how lame Sebastian as a companion is. He only gets 3 quests about him. One of them was a kill quest that didn't involve him. The second one was a decent revenge story, and the third was about Elthina and Chantry politics, where he gets outshined by a much better rogue archer. Just a massive L of a DLC companion, boys.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, overall I like that he is a human noble who beefs with mages, but he needed way more time in the character of an
I am Grand Cleric. Who would dare attack
Also,
me?
wait, what did this old lady just say?
Shield yourself, then I
Yes, who indeed would harm the Grand Cleric? They would have to be very bombastic.
Oh wow, looks like Justice has joined the chat.
All right, thanks for the foreshadowing, Justice, but now with the setup done, we can get some unique dialogue with Leliana later, and it's time to start the second DLC, boys. My God, Mommy Cassandra, you are looking particularly high definition today. Care to lay your definition on me?
Oh hell yeah, Barry, whip it out.
Heavy pause.
Okay, and just like that, the moment is gone. But another reason I am excited to see Cassandra here is because I can go over a little more cut content about Sebastian's quest. Originally, we were supposed to meet Cassandra in the Chantry in Act 3, as she was investigating the Resolutionist, same as Leliana. This would have shown that the Divine was taking this threat seriously by sending her left and right hand both to resolve the issue. This was likely scrapped because it wouldn't make sense for Cassandra to meet Varric's side of the story in Act 3 if she was nearby. And her finding out what happened at the gallows is the whole reason for capturing Varric in the first place.
Yeah, that would be a very weird interaction, although I am sure you would have preferred an up-close and personal meeting with Cassandra before Inquisition Barry. Also, I know you said it as a joke, but their models do look more crisp in this scene than the base game.
Money talks as always, boys. EA must have finally dipped into their yacht fund and gave them some proper animators for this cutscene.
This just goes to show what Bioware could have done if EA gave them proper love and time.
All I know is it had something to do with you and nobles. Edge is usually very reliable.
Reliable at leading us into an
Also,
ambush,
it's time
you
for our 100th Dragon Age 2 ambush fight, 2 more. And we get a free chip with our next order.
Yeah, true, but they made a joke about it this time, so it's all good, right?
Oh, thank God it's just the anti-Van Crows. I was worried it was going to be an outfit that could actually threaten or kill the player. What is this, the 10th goddamn time we kill all of their guys in their series?
Now it's time for our main character of this DLC to make a grand entrance and show off her much-practiced parkour moves.
Damn good shot, dear. I can see you are good with your hands. Care to demonstrate some other proficiencies on that topic?
All right, this has to be one of the biggest forms of cutscene powers I have ever seen in Dragon Age. This is borderline Jack levels of cutscene buffs, because I can guarantee she can't do any of this in-game.
It is admittedly cutscene hacks, but as we just said, this is against the Antivan Crows. They might actually be this incompetent to get bodied this hard. Also, Joe, you have been noticeably silent so far. I thought you would have been. Oh, okay, never mind.
Laundry day, see you there, under things, tumbling. Wanna say, love your hair, here I go, mumbling. With my freeze ray, I will find the time to find the words to tell you how you make me feel. What's the phrase? Like a fool, kinda sick. Special needs, anyways.
Joe, what in the fuck was that? Your singing wasn't even Dragon Age related this time? If you were going to ear rape us, at least make it relevant.
Unfortunately, it was Relevant Donald. That song was a romantic opener from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, in which Neil Patrick Harris, who plays Dr. Horrible, sings to Penny, played by Felicia Day, who also happens to voice Talus.
Oh, right, Charlie from Supernatural. I forgot she did this DLC before landing that gig. She was sort of the classic red nerdy girl in the early 2010s. It makes sense they make a hot elf in Dragon Age based off her.
Oh shit, that means she also voices Veronica from New Vegas. You have my attention, I am invested now.
Yeah, I haven't really heard too many complaints about Talus being voiced by an internet celebrity. This certainly went over better than Jessica Corbett, voicing Diana Allers in Mass Effect 3.
It also helps that Talus is actually really beautiful and clearly waifu material, while original Diana Allers looks like she got hit by a belt sander and was halfway towards becoming a husk.
All right, I am a lover, not a roaster when it comes to women boys, but I can't really say anything in defense of that statement either. Good work surviving the horde of Antivan Crows Joe Varric and Hawk really carried.
sloppy.
All right, a V-neck top and a slow-walking ass shot. I see you, Bioware, and all I have to say in response is, nice.
Yeah, thank God we have those classic Bioware camera angles that haven't been taken away by a remake. We will take what we can here, boys.
Oh God, Talus, I'm craving to emote with you.
All right, Joe, calm down. We can't throw too many obscure internet songs that Felicia Day sang. We don't want to be too unknowable with our jokes.
All right, I almost forgot you told us we are going to Orlais for this DLC. Is this the first time we go to Orlais in the series, Obama?
No, but not because we go to Orlais earlier in the series. It's because technically we never set foot in Orlais during this mission. The chateau is actually located in the western free marches close to the border, but still not Orlais. It was given to an Orlesian family after the Fourth Blight. So while the people in this mission are Orlesian, and the area is still in the free marches, which is on brand for Dragon Age 2.
Probably for the best. I feel like Hawk gets a massive nerf if he ever left the free marches given his performance in Inquisition. Also, I like how the only reason we even get recruited for this mission is because Varric's bullshit hangman stories reached beyond Kirkwall.
Well, that, and we are the champion of Kirkwall boys. Does it even make sense to do this quest in Act 1 or 2, given the fact this is a noble party and the Qunari tie-in?
There are loopholes the game thinks of if you start this quest before Act 3. Namely, in Act 1, our mother receives a letter addressed to our grandparents inviting them to the hunt. It's pretty flimsy. And just like Legacy, the canon choice, according to Bioware, is that both these DLCs happen in Act 3.
Anyways, boys, it's time to go on a date with the cute redhead. We are definitely in our popular stage.
Okay, calm down, Kazuma. Isn't Meryl right in front of you? Why the hell did you flirt with her?
Hop off, it was an accident, I swear anyways.
Speaking of throwbacks to Act 1, though, I almost forgot the reason for this ambush by the crows is whichever person we screwed over in the prologue when we joined the mercenaries or smugglers is who sent the crows after us. In our case, it's the Orlesian noble Lord Frederick's whole family who tried to kill us. This is also so we have a reason to meet Talus even in Act 1.
Didn't we kill that guy over 7 years ago at this point? That seems like the most delayed and forced revenge plotline in this entire series. Either the family didn't really like that guy and just sent assassins after us out of obligation, or they took 7 years to get their money up enough to afford the crows, and we took their life savings down in a single minute.
It's probably the former Orlesians don't really strike me as the family-oriented type. They probably operate under mafia rules about respect. Where anyways, the second secret boss is coming up in a few minutes. Barry, anyone you want me to bring for the first half to help you out?
Well, we actually can't switch out our party at any time during this mission without cheats, but that being said, Aveline and Meryl are actually perfect as is. Nature damage on Meryl goes great against the secret boss and the Qunari, and both of them are excellent tanks for this expansion too.
Blood magic is overpowered as always. Looks like we have another beautiful storybook opener that was severely lacking from Legacy. I'm starting to think the budget for this expansion was way higher.
All I care about is getting it away from the Duke. Here's the problem. The heart is in a vault, behind who knows what kind of traps, protected by a private army of Orlesian chevaliers, all inside a fortress that was designed to be impregnable. And let's not forget, it's on the side of a mountain, in the middle of nowhere, surrounded.
Well, Legacy still looked pretty good, even if you're probably right. I mean, the Wyvern hat on the Duke alone probably cost a quarter of the budget of the base game.
I mean, from a business standpoint, it makes sense Legacy did very well in terms of sales. So they probably had way more freedom with the budget for the second DLC. Money talks after all.
Joe, don't talk about business like you have any idea what is going on also. Hey, we got one of the chasing dudes from Loithering here. That's a throwback if I've ever seen one.
A few notes on the Chasins. They are almost absent in Inquisition. The Chasing actually play a massive part in repelling the Ferelden invasion of the Blight during the events of Veilguard. So much so that it's a wonder why we didn't try to recruit them in Origins, if they are that effective at Darkspawn killing.
We talked about that possibility in the writing room, but just like the Chosen One origin, we scrapped the idea because it didn't really fit in with the rest of the story, and the Chasen lore just wasn't established enough. You'll find this one interesting, though. Donald Morrigan's father is heavily implied to be a random Chasen, given the fact that they lived in the Qunari Wilds, and Flemeth's association with the Chasen previously.
That makes sense, but she must really take after her mother, because there's no way I fell this hard for a normal Chasen woman. Also, I guess that means POTUS's son is a quarter Chasen and half dwarf.
Kieran is going to have the best college resume in the future. Like we are talking, everyone is going to put him on the front of the pamphlets. Also, I know this dude is pompous and stuck up, but he called our waifu squad lovely, so at least he has great tastes. Probably could have gotten along great if he wasn't Orlesian.
Yeah, being Orlesian is kind of an automatic no unless you're a squad mate, and even then the two Orlesian squad mates are questionable in popularity. Also, I know I play D&D far less than you guys, but aren't the things we are hunting technically not wyverns?
In official fantasy terms, yes, wyverns are dragons with hind legs and wings that they use as front legs. The most popular example being Skyrim. The wyverns we are hunting don't really fly, but they have wings that they can use to sort of glide through the air to pretend they are flying and leap really far. I guess the accurate term for these things would be dregs, but they are closer to classic wyverns than Skyrim dragons are to actual dragons.
Well, hand me the keys, the flannel, and a six-pack because we are about to go hunt some wyverns.
Yeah, and then we can harvest the poison and use it to make hallucinogenic drugs for the after party. Everybody wins.
Oh boy, someone call Hunter over and tell him to bring the firearms. Sounds like a party right up his alley.
Blowy Donald, don't hate on my son, because he does cool shit like huffing wyvern poison.
Well, the stores are available to us, but besides injury kits and basic weapons, there really isn't anything that interesting that they sell. It's mostly just so we can sell our unwanted items and make room for more loot.
It's not like we really needed it. We got a really strong shield for the thick girl during the Sebastian fight, and we bought the Black Emporium Nature staff for 100 gold, just so the Blood Mage's staff would match the fan art to guard Drew.
And it was a peak investment both for our viewers and for our Wyfus damage output, with both the DLC and all the Act 3 demons.
You know, in my experience, fortune favors the lucky and the main characters, not the bold. Like, let's be real, we are all presidents and none of us are particularly bold, just really lucky.
I am bolder than a Sharpie, but you are somewhat right, Bill. I am sure Barack over here picked Joe at random from the nearest nursing home, probably because he won the Sunday singing competition at the senior center or something, and that's how he became president.
So what I am hearing is you think my singing is good, thanks, Pookie.
Don't call me that.
Anyway, boys, it's hunting time. But don't worry, I will still pick up all the side quests around the area so you don't have a heart attack, Barry.
Well, truthfully, the side quests here are mostly filler. They definitely aren't Bioware's best work. But they also aren't too difficult either, so we might as well tackle them for the happy ending and experience. Also looks like we're starting off with the wrong kind of reptile hunting.
It's all part of the plan, Bill. The wyvern hunt regular dragon, so it's one of the clues we need to summon one to kill.
Are you going for the alpha wyvern, Joe, or just a normal one for reference?
We haven't really half-assed anything else in our series up till now, so why start here? Plus there is an achievement to kill the alpha wyvern, and we have to fulfill the role of achievement hunting for our viewers in the big 2025.
That's fair, Joe, although Legacy doesn't really have any achievements that need to be hunted, besides 2, which is just doing all the side quests, and doing the mission with the Hawk sibling in the party. The latter you should always be doing, and the former is the only real hidden achievement. Mark, on the other hand, has 3 optional achievements, one of them being killing the alpha wyvern.
Well, I am sure there is someone who is playing along with the movie that appreciates your nerdy dedication to fully completing the game. Too bad none of you have gotten the achievement for not going down in a single act in either of the games, though.
All right, Bill, you need to slow your roll. Me and Joe vouched for you, and Sleepy here is already going to get clapped up by the Dragon's party, and Wyvern fight, he doesn't need friendly fire from his own party.
No, I'm not hearing any negativity from you all. Not only were the first 2 fights of this DLC easy money, and this Wyvern is going to be even easier. With the new and improved waifu squad, we cannot fail. In fact, I am calling it now. It's going to be another deathless episode for me boys.
All right, the 3 different waifus might be fire, I can't lie, but to quote my main man Georgie, sounds like a lot of heavy foreshadowing. Joe, let's see it.
Good thought.
I know you were dissing me with that new and improved waifu squad, but don't think that Elf Veronica could ever compare to my pirate queen. Just because she has V-neck armor isn't nearly enough. Isabella's plot is far heavier than hers.
Just so you're aware, I have no idea what you're talking about. But feel free to keep rambling.
Also, something interesting to note here is that a lot of these Orlesian nobles have Mabari, even though Mabari are not native to Orlais, which means that all of these nobles had to buy them from a Ferelden breeder, or possibly a Tevener breeder if they still make them.
Orlais can shit on Ferelden all they want, but when it comes down to it, they are copying more and more things from Ferelden and other countries that have it far better. Really, all they have is more money. And once Balin and Alistair follow the business teachings of POTUS more, they won't even have that.
The Free Marches might not have a chance to catch up, but if the Orzammer and Ferelden Alliance keeps up, they might have a chance at knocking down Orlais on that ranking. Also, we found the second clue. It looks like the Wyverns beef with both dragons and themselves. They are the ultimate crash-out boss.
Is it enough to draw one out of hiding?
I'd say so.
Yeah, that's the main reason there's even a hunt for these guys to control their population. Well, and they are obviously profitable. Anyways, time to hand the keys over to me. Joe, let's see if I can handle this secret boss better than the first one.
Sandel willing, you will die 2 more times and tie with me, Obama. Also, the secret boss is just a normal arcane horror instead of a ghost dragon or a unique necromancer like the last one. That's really lame.
Trust me, even if he looks normal, he is anything but normal Donald. Also, this and the dragons are the only ones that even keep the same model. Every other enemy we are going to see later is completely different look-wise, at least. Even most of the spells are different, too. Also, my cute nerdy elf is already down. What the fuck are you doing, Barry?
Our squad just got 33% less hot. What's your plan here, Barry? Because this dude does massive damage. And right now, you are just bashing your muscle mommy against the Supreme Sky Spellcaster.
Holy bars, Bill, but no worries. We have the Spirit Healer specialization on Hawk, so Once I get to the second stage of this 4-stage fight, I will revive the fallen squad mates and come back stronger than ever. I just have to chip away a little more at the boss. And oh god damn it, fuck my ass.
I think this shit is Joe ever. I would say just restart, unless you want to watch both our wifes slowly get double teamed by the rogues.
I would say phrasing please, but you're right, Joe. I fucked up hard with my placement. I really need to spread everyone out and not let Aveline face tank too much damage.
Yes, come on, Sky Horror, pull through for Donald and give Obama one more death for me.
Donald, the fact you are rooting for an ancient mage instead of your friend is a new low, but it's even lower because it's not going to happen. I only die once per episode, and I am not breaking the cycle in this timeline. It is going to stay consistent. I need to micromanage Talus more here at the start to get the boss down to his second stage. She is our best damage source with her increased damage to mages, but she is the most frail in terms of resistances since she starts with nothing but base armor.
I love the Talus glaze, but she got downed anyway, so I guess you are just going to undersell our assassin waifu this whole fight. At least you are going to reach the second stage, this time Obama, with the amount of damage you are doing, so there's a slight improvement here.
No waifu is safe in Obama's hands, it seems. Maybe you need some bardic inspiration to carry you here, brother. You know, Barry, I did watch your last episode to see how George fit in with your squad. And I have to say, you seem to have a curse with these secret bosses. The first stage always claps you up the worst out of the three, so now that you are in the second stage, maybe this is your second wind. That being said, mind the walls, since this bastard can still clip you on the corners from his safety bubble if you get close enough.
Honestly, Bill, I would be pissed about the collusion between you three if it mattered, but knowing Obama's performance, it's not the mage that is going to clap him up. It's the endless rogues that come out of the black fart clouds. The presidents all have their unique Pokemon weakness that gets a stab on our tab, and Obama's has been assassins in this series. Joe's is mages that have their horns sawn off and participate in BDSM, and mine is mages that cheat.
Just regular mages for Donald, honestly, whether it's a Darkspawn mage, blood mage, or pretend mage, it doesn't really matter. What's your plan here, by the way? Barry, my cutie patootie, is looking rough. And I am about to start singing the qunari prayer for the dead if you lose any more of my best girls.
Relax, Joe. As soon as another party member goes down, I will use revive on them and our group heal ability. Right now, I need to just take my time and use this moment to restore my party before the big bad comes back. I just need Talus back up before the third stage of the fight starts, since the faster I take out the Sky Horror, the faster this fight will be cleared.
Armero, my love. My elves are going into the Aravelis without me. I am being cucked from their life.
Jesus Christ, stop tweaking, Joe. See, Barack got them back and revived again? That being said, how the hell did they not get revived with injuries? Is that a mod? Or did you glitch out the game, Barack?
No, that's actually a feat in the Spirit Healer tree, Donald Joe. Just got that after the Sebastian mission. But getting taken down is no longer nearly as punishing. And Joe actually did some prep work after the Sebastian mission on equipment builds, on abilities while you were grabbing your DoorDash order. So mainly just putting the right runes on Aveline and getting a few new spells on Meryl.
Oh, okay, you all are just keeping information from me. So when you pass the controller to me, I won't know what's going on. I should expect that from you two, but I am surprised at you, Bill. I thought we were cool. Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know it was a secret, and to be fair, you didn't ask either, Donald. Plus, we all got distracted with the Talus gooning, so I basically forgot.
Donald, are you coming down from something because you are acting way more paranoid than usual? Take a breather or something, the walls aren't closing in. And no one is listening in on our conversations except for the couple of thousand people that do listen across different dimensions.
No way Sleepy Joe is trying to coach me to come down from a high that is the most redundant pot calling the kettle black shit I have ever heard.
Wow, guys, literally no one cares. I have the secret boss at just under half health, which means I have him on the ropes in Dragon Age terms. So Joe, why don't we pass the time with the comment question you and I cooked up earlier today?
Sure thing, Barry. So viewers, to build up a little hype for Inquisition, since we are nearing the end of 2, unfortunately, let's dive into it a little more. Obviously, Varric came back in Inquisition as our connection between the two games. But who did you want to see return from the Dragon Age 2 squad if you had a choice? My choice is I think the two Hawk siblings were severely underutilized in 2 because a lot of their story has to deal with living in Hawk's shadow, or needing Hawk to survive before becoming their own separate individual in either the Circle or the Wardens. I think the perfect action to help the Hawk siblings stand out from Hawk is have them be a grown individual that joins the Inquisition. They already had a possible place in the story too, either as a Warden or a Mage, and Templar where they could have been a pivotal voice. Hell, it may have even been the perfect time to give them a romance or romance them ourselves, since I already know there are plenty of Bethany lovers who don't want to roleplay a Sweet Home Alabama Hawk.
All right, Sleepy. I am still side-eyeing this collusion, but admittedly that is a really good answer that checks all of my boxes. However, I have to highlight one of my favorites and go with Fenris as the one squad mate I would want back. not only because of all the mages and demons we face, but because Tevinter plays a keen villain role in Inquisition that Fenris would be perfect to oppose. I am pretty sure he gets his own comic where the Inquisition tries to recruit him for that exact reason. He is the perfect robe and Tevinter curb stomper. He is one of the best people to combat Corypheus for that reason, and his conflict and banter with Dorian could have been a perfect Talion Legion situation, where they originally hate each other, and you have to break up fights between the two before they come together as comrades in arms later.
All right, not bad boys, that's going to be tough to beat. I think if we were picking for Vale Guard, I would easily pick Meryl as our Elven lore expert. But for Inquisition, I have to give it to Isabella. She is one of the few companions that always survives regardless of your choices in this game. She actually does join Inquisition in the multiplayer, so it's not unreasonable that she does her part during the crisis. Her connections with the pirate groups in Qunari could offer some interesting quests and maybe change her personality slightly if she was betrayed. I think seeing her steady growth from 2 to Inquisition would also be interesting, making her more responsible over her time with Hawke and giving us some more gradual growth of her character, rather than the rapid shift that happened in Vale Guard.
All right, good picks all around, boys, but I have to give a more obscure choice being Talus. And no, it's not just because she is red hot like her hair. The problem with making a squad mate return in Inquisition is we have already fully explored their character arc in a previous game, so to include them in a game that offers 60 or more hours of content, you better make sure they have a massive character shift like Anders did from Awakening to 2. Or otherwise I simply won't be as invested in their story as opposed to the newer companions. I think Oberyn in Awakening was the best case because Awakening was shorter, and they gave him a new character beat with becoming a dad. Similarly with Talus, we only learn a small fraction of her character in the DLC, so having her become a full fleshed out character in Inquisition would have been interesting, especially with the Qunari conflict on the horizon. She could have been an interesting complement to Iron Bull, and maybe humanize the Qunari more so along with him. Also heard debates with Solas would have been very interesting since he hates the Qunari and elves that have to flee to them for purpose and equality.
All right, good picks, boys and viewers. Let us know what character you would have returned from 2 in Inquisition as a squad mate. Our editor will read everyone, and his favorite will be featured in the next episode. But with that all being said, bear in mind, featuring our favorite comment from last episode.
Thank you, Joe. Our featured comment comes from Phantom Shadow, who says that Bethany is his favorite sibling, while Carver is their least favorite companion, which won the popular vote. And we all have to admit Bethany's party banter is far more interesting. Having Hawke choose which sibling to save would have been far more interesting and more tragic for Hawke personally, especially when our mother blames us for their death and our sibling has survivor guilt, as it would have made far more sense if Hawke had to make that call and cope with that choice. Thank you for your comment, and can't wait to hear what companion you would have brought back in Inquisition.
Well, back to the game. We are still fighting this same dude, and he hasn't turned into a dragon, a super demon, or Nancy Pelosi this entire fight. And while I can't say anything about the difficulty of each fight, considering you died once both times, they have to be the same difficulty level, which means Legacy's secret boss easily is the better secret boss on presentation and variety.
It's not a competition, Donald, but as someone actually playing both the fights, let me give you my review. Well, the Legacy fight certainly had more interesting presentation and mechanics, since there were a few different ways to handle that fight and all 3 stages were more distinct. But in terms of an actual challenge, I have to say the Sky Horror wins. From Alvernus, all I needed to do was correct my priority on the first wave and have Aveline tank everything, and my victory was guaranteed. I was able to sit back and chill. For the Sky Horror, this thing deals so much more damage that I had to strongly focus on my positioning and my party composition. Not only did I need a proper tank, but I needed the right spells and the right amount of damage and elemental damage diversity, since each Sky enemy has a different weakness. For example, Meryl was the definite MVP here because she deals a ton of nature damage against the boss. But Joe also picked up Dispel after the Sebastian quest, which counters every continuous attack the Sky Horror uses and makes him useless for a few seconds while he is on cooldown, which helps keep the pressure off enough to not have our party get one shot and manage the enemies.
Also, Barry, that was the most unfortunate revive in Dragon Age history. You revived her, only for her to go down again before she even finished the revive animation. This dude loves keeping a girl down more than the glass ceiling. I am 6'2", by the way, ladies.
Trying a new tactic, I see Bill. Not bad, but kind of useless since only 0.2% of our audience is female. You have a better chance waiting in the manga section at Barnes & Noble. Also, I will give the Blood Mage her props on this fight, but she is not the carry. All she did was copy the abilities of the far superior Templars by dispelling magic. Meanwhile, Mommy Isabella and Fenris not only carried story-wise, but they have been doing the work behind the scenes in terms of damage and, more importantly, mage killing.
Hop off, Donald. My cutie patoonie's been our only answer to the qunari. Meanwhile, anyone can kill a blood mage since they are squishy as hell.
And boom, I got that shit all recorded. We got enough, wrap it up. Haha, I got him to admit the mages suck. I win again. Second biggest win of the last year, being honest.
Well, first off, here's the Keyboard Joe, the second secret boss, is killed, and the cycle of one death continues. Wait, so all this competition shit the last minute was just an elaborate way for you to admit that mages are weak? Didn't you just make fun of Corypheus for playing a needlessly long game, Donald?
Look, I think it was poorly planned, but he was onto something. He certainly made Joe sweat. That's all the motion I need. It's why I said both the secret bosses were the same level of difficulty. I have seen the forums. I know this Sky dude is way worse. I just wanted to get a mage debate going. Anyways, the key's back to Joe. And the first scene he gets is about the Wyverns fucking, and these guys investigating a hole. What is going on?
I'm just looking for ingredients for the side quest, and more bait to draw out the alpha wyvern. Not my fault everything the game throws at me is sus. Also, we are about to meet a new enemy type that never comes back again, the Hobbs.
Actually, Joe, these are ghasts. Hobbs are the goblin-like creatures with magic and funny hats from Fable that live in caves. These guys do the same thing, but are from Dragon Age, totally different.
Wait, hold on now. George doesn't allow me at the D&D table nearly as often as you three. But even I know that ghasts are like undead monsters that smell terrible. I remember seeing them in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, you're right on the money, Bill. This is another case where Bioware is taking its own lore with monsters instead of following traditional fantasy rules. Ghasts in this game are pack animals that function almost entirely like goblins, minus certain not cool tendencies of the goblins from Goblin Slayer that is. Really, they are just a bunch of territorial goofy guys that seem to only exist close to the Orlesian border, which is why Blackwall mentions encountering them before.
They kind of look like smaller Darkspawn, if I am being honest, especially with their fucked up faces. Was that just a design choice, or are these guys some kind of weird evolution change like the steroid locks from last episode?
That is a popular theory, although most people don't study these guys because they are incredibly reclusive and just want to live in their caves alone. They don't display the same intelligence as Darkspawn do, and Grey Wardens don't have reaction to them, which means it's unlikely they are Darkspawn related, although who knows, they could have some relation. I do know that these guys share the same weakness and resistances as Darkspawn stat-wise, so that might be a clue or just a shortcut.
Well, I am just going with the fact they are different from Darkspawn, but the design team, and game developers didn't do them any favors. Having them be different from Darkspawn makes this world that much more magical. Speaking of magic, I found a naked guy in the woods.
I think Bro was coming from a different party, not the hunting party. I know a late-night bender when I see one.
This guy is trying to say he was leaving a trail for the ghasts too. He's ducking and dodging a clear walk of shame. For a lore nerd, this guy knows how to get down. Why couldn't this be the scholar who went with us to get the urn?
Didn't know you wanted a naked man escorting you up the ice mountain, Donald. You have some very specific interests. This guy is pretty important, though, because he is the only way to grab the rewards from the Sky Altar where we fought the secret boss. Without him, all you get is random leveled loot and gold. With this guy's notes, we can backtrack back to the altar and grab the Girdle of the Skies, which gives mana regeneration and magic resistance, and the sacrificial dagger, which ignores all armor when calculating damage.
I wonder how many people flipped out seeing how crappy the loot was and never realized there was a proper reward. For fighting the secret boss? Bioware had some stones making a difficult boss fight with no upfront reward, I will give them that.
Well, here is the reason why the Fantasy French even participate in the hunt. I will give the writers some praise. They are helping do your job, Barry.
The Orlesian nobility is only too happy to help out.
It's a game. The Molfors are so close to the Empress, so anything that pleases them is worth pursuing.
So basically, all of this is an excuse to take drugs and kill a dragon in a private resort area. That is surprisingly based from the French. Maybe these guys aren't so bad.
Donald, I will kindly ask you look at Marjolaine, the Baroness, Gascard, and the entire Ferelden occupation before we start thinking these guys aren't so bad.
All right, just because you spared the war criminal doesn't mean you can start sounding like him, Sleepy. Also, Navaran Dragon Hunters, is she talking about your Inquisition muscle mommy Obama?
I'm not really sure, since the lore of this place conflicts with what Talus is saying. Both the DLCs actually take place on different parts of the Vinamark Mountains, which we can see right outside Kirkwall. Legacy takes place on an eastern summit, and Mark takes place on the western summit. This area was originally owned by Orlesian Lord Hain back in the Black Age, when werewolves were more of a problem. Lord Hain tried to conquer the Free Marches, and when he failed, he was exiled by the Orlesian Empire. He built the fortress here to hide from his enemies until the Anavan Crows were brought in to successfully assassinate him.
So, do you get a stipend? They let you rule the city?
They gave me a medal. It's shiny.
After that, the fortress was abandoned for about 30 years until the time of the Fourth Blight, when Garahel and his sister Isia used the fortress to house thousands of refugees in the Free Marches, and also used the fortress for tactical meetings. After the Fourth Blight, a descendant of Duke Prosper was given the lands as a reward for his outstanding service in the Fourth Blight.
Maybe they earned the chateau after the Blight, and they expanded by taking out a string of Pentaghasts. After the fact, both statements can be true. Also, we have more goblin slaying to do this time with a mage leading them.
Oh great, the goddamn goblins have their own robes, and they can summon goddamn totem constructs? The mages have gone way too far. They are even converting the goblins to their evil?
That's one of the reasons that connect these things to Darkspawn. They are the only other non-humanoid creature that can naturally wield magic. Just like Darkspawn, the magic users tend to be the leaders of their goblin colonies.
So Tevinter models its whole empire after the same concept that Darkspawn and goblins do. That can't be a goddamn coincidence. More proof we need another crusade.
Well, the Codex says that most animals are sensitive to the Fade, and ghasts are just the only ones with the means to utilize it. The Codex also says they learn magic by watching other mages, but that doesn't explain why they use these totems and magic we have never seen before.
It's possible any creature with enough intelligence can tap into the Fade provided they are magically inclined. It's also possible these creatures are from the Fade or were a pre-Veil species that simply was overlooked since they aren't intelligent enough to stand out among humans and other mortal beings. If they existed before the Veil, they would naturally have magic, and it's not like they would be the first species that haven't evolved for thousands of years. And these things even exist in the real world after all. As for the totem magic, it could be luck or it could be the work of demons. While demons would prefer possessing humans we see from the Sylvans, they are cool with possessing even trees, so goblins aren't that far-fetched. Maybe they gave them magic totems in exchange for possessing them.
It wouldn't be a President's Play episode if we didn't go on a 2-minute long yap about why the little green guys can use magic for some reason. I can't wait for the yap spree about who's hotter, elves or humans.
Humans, by the way, always fumbling at every opportunity, Joe. Also, I really need to play this DLC as a Templar main, since every single enemy is a mage that gets absolutely cucked by Dispel magic. I mean, both the Sky Horrors and the Goblins rely on magic that has a really long cast time and even longer cooldowns. A full Templar squad with a mage that has Dispel would go crazy here.
That's basically what we have here already. Just replace Hawk with a warrior, and Aveline with Fenris. Talus already does extra damage to spellcasters because of her specialization. Also, these guys have a really weird death animation. The totems they use pop out of the ground and drag them back underground for some unknown reason.
I'm the better mage, little guy. Anyways, let's go follow these French dogs, boys. Maybe little French Timmy is stuck in a French well.
Viewers take a shot every time we make a French reference in this episode, since the Repeat Maps drinking game has been on hold for the last 2 episodes.
Donald, stop trying to make our viewers have liver failure. They definitely can just take water shots or something. By the way, we aren't going to force you to drink, and so much as to make Ogren blush.
Jesus, guys, I hate seeing dogs dying in video games. I can barely stand killing the Mabari when they are enemies. But seeing him curl up all sad is something I can't stand. Here you go, boy. We made an organic little smoothie to cure the deadly poison.
Normally I would shit on you for this, Joe, as I've seen you cry over the damn Mabostif plotline of Scarlet and Violet, but these good boys don't deserve to die, and especially don't deserve to die in France. So helping them is the right thing. I don't even want to see the renegade option as to what killing them looks like.
Is probably waiting back at camp.
I haven't even done it, but looking it up on my notes here, the only way to get a good reward is to cure the dog. Even if you put the dog down, you can lie and say the dog died of injuries or to the wyvern. If you flat out tell the hunter that you killed his dog yourself, he will attack you and sick all of his remaining dogs on you, Mr. Burns style. There's no reward for killing him, by the way, just experience.
And my guy crashed out and stood on business for his dogs. I have to respect it. I don't even care that the reward was some weapon we can't use. I am glad we did our good deed for the episode.
It's Joe, so our good deeds are about to skyrocket this episode with his paragon-pushing, loan-forgiving ass. What are the stats on this bow, though, Obama?
The short bow does nature damage, which is good against the ghasts and qunari we fight in this DLC, has a massive attack boost, and most notably has a 2% chance to place a walking bomb on the target. A really fun weapon for the lower difficulties. But on Nightmare, this thing is a massive liability of friendly fire damage that you don't want to deal with, since you can't predict when a walking bomb will be placed.
Every single fun thing that archers get is countered by the sheer risk of friendly fire in this game, I've noticed. Archer really was made before friendly fire was planned around in 2.
Well, it's time to roll around in some Wyvern shit for clues. I don't remember this episode of Scooby-Doo being honest, but it's definitely still freaky. So this is on brand for Bioware.
Hawk's strategy of firmly grasping everything in his hand bites him in the ass once again, it seems.
It's already weird that an elf knows a nug call, but do you all think POTUS would know a nug call given the fact he lived in Orzammar?
I mean, I am sure he knows something about nug calls. They are everywhere in Orzammar and the deep roads. But it's not like he was a nug wrangler. His interactions with them would be eating them mostly.
Probably the longest interaction he had with nugs was Leliana's pet in camp. Anyways, this is all 5 of the clues we need for the Alpha Wyvern. But to recap, since a lot happened since we started the hunt, you need a dragon corpse on top of the hill, wyvern blood near the sky altar, the wyvern mating call, where we grabbed Andraste's mantle, the helicorpse where we fought the mage ghast, and the nug bones in the wyvern shit right before we fight this thing. Once we use all 5, we get the Alpha Wyvern, which gives us a harder fight, achievement, and a better belt as a reward.
Damn, I mean, she isn't afraid to get her hands dirty, but I bet that shit took like 4 baths to get clean.
Still a smash, though.
Was that good?
You want to do it? Didn't think so.
The plug is a bit weird, but she is chill.
You know, I can't find a reference for this. But considering this DLC came out only 1 year after How to Train Your Dragon, does anyone else think this big guy looks kind of like Toothless?
He's kind of cute in a chunky, deadly sort of way.
But still a smash, though.
Get in line, Bill. Ever since I found out Morrigan can become a high dragon, I will be the first one to smash a lizard in this White House.
Oh, come on, Donald, we can compromise. Here you try the dragon and I try the wyvern. It's a perfect compromise.
All right, fine. As long as I get the bragging rights for the first one, Dragon Smasher is a way better title anyway.
Okay, I know we've been traveling with a waifu squad longer than normal, but we have reached the horny levels again of demonetization. Why the hell would you even want to smash a dragon? These things would burn you alive and then eat you.
SMH Barack, it's not a horny thing. It's about the challenge of being the first one to do it. It's like exploring space or climbing a mountain. The challenge is what is interesting.
Some people will never understand us, Donald, and that's okay. Obama can stick with the muscle mommies and the elf twinks, meanwhile me, and you can make a new step for humanity.
Well, you guys have fun. I am just going to stick with my redheads. And elves, speaking of, Talus is beating the shit out of the wyvern. I am really going to miss this girl when she leaves the squad after this episode. She is great with attack speed jewelry, combined with haste and double haste buff would have been so good here.
All right, thank you, Joe. That is at least slightly more on topic. Talus is really strong. But just like the new abilities from Awakening, her skill tree Infiltrator is a little too strong for the base game of 2, since not only does her specialization give her increased dodge chance and immunity to slows and stuns, but all of her abilities can give massive extra damage to mages while protecting herself from magic damage, which is a very common enemy type, especially in Act 3. Also, she has an ability that lets her crit enemies who are immune to critical hits. It's pretty powerful.
Good to see we finally have another girl boss in the damaging department, boys. My counter to that is who really cares about balance in a non-multiplayer game. You have to do a whole massive expansion that, according to Time to Beat, takes 3 hours. And you still need her at a high level in order to unlock that specialization, so who really cares about making everything balanced?
I don't disagree in terms of balancing. She should have at least made an appearance in the final battle. But a permanent companion might be pushing it, if only for the fact I don't really see her motivation to involve herself in the Mage-Templar War or the Qunari invasion. Hell, even Sebastian and Varric are more involved in terms of stakes simply by being citizens of Kirkwall. I hate to lose my elf wife, but at least seeing her at the end like the Hawk sibling would have cushioned the blow.
Yeah, Act 2 especially would be a big issue. But even ignoring the balancing issue, Joe has a point. The story would have had trouble working her into the narrative. And that isn't including the fact having her in the base game would mean getting Felicia Day to record hours of more dialogue, which I imagine would be pretty pricey and time consuming. But still, having her at the end of the game should have been manageable if they were able to get her to act in an entire live action series.
That would have been far less awkward than the YouTube series 2 low-budget live-action films were not in the early 2010s. Also, why the hell are we beating the wyvern with a mage stick instead of using our stick to just throw a fireball against this thing?
Look, this is the only major boss fight that didn't get a unique kill animation, the reason being the animators. Took so much time animating this sassy asshole to get him to walk like Lady Gaga on the runway.
It is a very Born This Way style walk, I will give them that. And it's not even the sassiest walk we can see. Also, there is the classic Orlesian racism. Just because we have 2 elves with us, they must be our servants.
Joke's on him, we take the elves as slaves up in here, not servants.
Donald, that is not at all a flex. We shouldn't be trying to one-up the Orlesians that are throwing tantrums in the middle of the battlefield.
So does that mean this guy actually made it easier for us to hunt a wyvern by bribing everyone else to not hunt the thing? Did this guy unintentionally make our accomplishment less impressive? How dare he?
I guess he did, but low-key, if he had to bribe everyone else to even get the opportunity to hunt the wyvern, how was he going to kill it? Did he have the animal friend perk in Fallout so he could just bribe it to die or something?
That's a good reference, Bill, but this guy proves he actually brought a whole Chevalier army with him, so he was probably going to take down the wyvern with numbers.
Sounds like this world's version of could 100 guys kill a gorilla, but this dumbass is really going to throw himself at the meat grinder that is Hawk. He would have had a better chance just hunting another wyvern, but now he's going to get a singularity up the ass instead of getting an easy-to-survive poison.
True, there's no salve for broken bones, boys. Looks like these guys fight exactly like Templars. Do I imagine they have the same weaknesses to cold damage, spirit damage? And needing to knock this Baron guy out of his rally with a horror, or now a dispel.
Wait, you can dispel rally and non-mage abilities. That shit is so broken. We really played as a Templar last game where cleanse aura sucked, and now that we are a mage, suddenly the Templar abilities are top tier?
It's a side effect of how much the combat changed between Origins and 2, Donald, since now that there's so many enemies. The AI uses abilities more often. Anything that disables the enemy's advantage is key. Because without the ability buff, the enemies are noticeably weaker than Hawk and his squad.
All of that was largely intentional by the game designers since they wanted the fights to be slightly exaggerated to highlight that Varric is the one telling the story. And he loves over-exaggerating to impress his audience. In fact, did you all know that originally there was going to be an exaggerated boss fight at the end of every act similar to the opener or Varric's Act 2 quest? They cut this because the joke began to wear off after the first act, and it became too predictable, which is why they only do it twice in this game now.
That makes sense, but honestly, they could have brought it back one more time, either in Mark of the Assassin, or maybe in the final battle against Meredith, because Varric feels embarrassed that the statue he found in Act 1 caused so much damage to so many different people.
Jumping the gun, a little sleepy. We still have a few hours left before that plot reveal. If this was a new game, I would have shut you down before you finished. But considering this is a 14-year-old game and we are 16 hours into this series, if you don't know the ending now, you probably just want to experience this game only through us as your guides.
There is a subset of viewers that do just that, so shout out to you. We appreciate your trust and attention to introduce you to the Dragon Age series. Back to what you were saying, Joe, I agree it would have been interesting. But it's definitely a 3-strike policy. If it happened more, I would simply be over how predictable it was. Honestly, while I can see the direction they wanted to go, I am still not a fan of the combat changes in Dragon Age 2, especially now that I have several hours of gameplay under my belt. The improved AI is appreciated, but switching from symmetrical to asymmetrical enemies and making combat faster with almost no reason to care about positioning or playing to your class's strengths. The strategies also have gotten easier. Stunning a leader or a mage is always the best choice, which removes a lot of unique ways to handle fights like spell combos, ear traps, or debuffs.
You also have to think about how console players needed to be more balanced in the later titles, since playing Origins combat on console was a different beast entirely. It may have been a necessary deal with the Devil Boys. Even if it isn't our favorite change, if the change wasn't done, it would have severely hurt the sales of Dragon Age for the overall masses.
Remember, boys, sometimes change is what sets us free. That was a perfect point, Bill.
Fuck that and fuck you, Barack, for using Mommy Morgan's line for justifying this affront against our preferences in our series. I appreciate Inquisition's changes, which seem to try to give an advantage towards a tactical camera and combat while keeping the combat more engaging like 2 tried to do. But honestly, the combinations POTUS used to set up with his squad were so peak, and I still miss them.
So does that mean Origins is slowly becoming your favorite Dragon Age, Donald?
Well, Glazing Inquisition was like his first or second line in the series, Joe. I don't think we are ever winning that battle. Speaking of winning battles, though, Joe, how the hell is this guy still alive? This fight actually took longer than the Wyvern fight now. What gives it's just some French dude.
I wanted to take out all of his guys first to teach him a lesson about messing with the champion of Kirkwall. Obviously, I could have ended this fight over a minute ago if I focused everything on Stingy from Lazy Town and ignored all the extra soldiers. I want him to explain to his mom or whoever is in charge of his house why he lost all his guys and didn't even win the hunt.
That's it, Joe. When they go low, simply go lower. That's how the Feraldans did it in the rebellion. And that's how the presidents do it now. Wait a minute, I just realized. Does that mean we are keeping this asshat alive instead of killing him? I thought that's what we were trying to do.
Now see his bitch-ass surrenders before we can kill him, and the Duke heard the sounds of Orlesians dying all the way from his fort, so he came to investigate it. We can end this date the fun way and bend him over one more time by executing him or letting him...
Oh, thank God this isn't Veilguard. We can still actually kill people, Joe. Go ahead and send him to the guillotine like his ancestors before him.
Yeah, I am just not going to do that. This guy isn't worth the effort to place his head on the headsman's block. He's just a spoiled child. Not an actual threat we need to worry about. I am just going to pick the I don't care option and leave him to his own people.
Choosing the I don't care option lets him go, where unfortunately he will attack us again with more dudes, although even if we kill him, we do get ambushed by soldiers. The fight is just a little bit easier since they don't have a leader.
A bullshit Paragon option is always Sleepy. Why am I not surprised? You want to let him fuck our waifus while you're at it?
I am with Joe on this. The waifus even want to spare him, and plus, if we kill him ourselves later, we can loot his unique equipment and kill more of his guys, costing him more in the long run and adding more French bodies to our kill count.
There will be a celebration in the chateau courtyard. Do attend when you're ready.
You mamma mia. I will do whatever you want, my muse.
Okay, I know that Tone, he is about 2 seconds from bursting into song again. Let's cut ahead to the party. It's time to mingle with nobility now that we are nobility ourselves.
We only slaughter 90% of the things we meet.
This is a good start, but I am going to need a few blue beauties surrounding me. Like that one dude in Donovan Hawk's party in Mass Effect 2.
Speaking of, it's kind of weird that only Hawk and Talus brought a change of clothes. Meryl is still wearing her normal Dalish robes, and Aveline is just wearing her battle armor. You girls don't want to be a part of the party, or at least sample the food.
Meryl is a chaotic force of attention that we do not need right now, and Aveline hates everything to do with having Orlesian heritage, and would probably rather be wrestling the caged wyvern right now. I don't think either of them could blend in here.
My girl hosts dinner parties now. I am sure she wouldn't mind a few hosting tips from the nobility. But you're right, somebody needs to keep Meryl from being lost. So that's going to be her job while Hawk and Talus do the important stuff.
If we brought a more charismatic squad like Varric or Isabella, they should have been able to assist us here in distracting the guards or helping us find the key or bypass certain sections here, really reward possible party diversity, maybe even have the mages cause commotions and distractions, or the warriors brute force the guards blocking the way.
Holy shit, Bill, you are actually cooking with that one. Anytime this game rewards party choices with companion interrupts is when it really starts to shine on its own. Also hold on to your giblets, this dude is about to make a Mass Effect reference.
To harm the Wyvern on its own ground is to tempt fate, a terrible risk. But the prize...
Of all the goddamn references this guy could have chosen, he picked a goddamn Jacob line. This dude may as well have made a fist reference. No one likes Jacob. He has his own bottom tier for a reason.
It's a reference to his romance scene, too, which I guarantee like 95% of people haven't done.
If they really wanted to pull a crowd pleaser here, they could have done I Am Duke Prosper, and this is my favorite wyvern kill on the chateau.
Leopold gets angry before dinner? Isn't that dude already eating as you were saying that? If that isn't dinner, then what the hell is that?
Bro is big boned. He needs a small warm-up before he hits the main course. It's called Bulking Season Sleepy.
Well, you would be the expert on that, just like that wyvern cage is too small for Leopold, this White House cage is too small for you. Probably why you free roam on the golf fields during both your terms.
Well, I am just keeping my skills sharp for the rematch of the 1-versus-1 you offered like a goddamn year ago, Sleepy. I know your ass forgot, but when you finally grow the balls to remember it, I will be ready.
You two love battling for third place more than Kaiba and Joey during the Battle City finals. Both of you know damn well you are not beating out George or Maury for the first place title in our golf league. Anyways, Joe, you can finally explore around. You have a few cool cameos we can talk to. We can play the Caprice game. There's a warm-up of Inquisition, where it's far more relevant gameplay-wise, where we can talk to a guard to start the main quest of finding the key to the chateau.
I am going to have Lady Elegant show me around and talk to everyone but Dulcie, because we haven't met them in game, and they don't remember Hawk later if we do talk to them. Plus, don't worry, I am going to talk to your eye candy in this party first, Barry.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Who the hell is this girl again? She looks familiar, but I don't remember doing anything quest-wise with her.
That is Lady Elegant. We met her in episode 1. She crafts all our potions for us in lore, and the reason she is here is she married a noble who funds her potion crafting business.
I notice her husband is never around, though, and the sexual tension between Elegant and Hawk, regardless of gender, could be cut with a cheese knife. Speaking of sexual tension, brace yourself, Donald, you are in the splash zone.
Oh my God. My glorious King Tegan, I haven't seen you since I exploded all over the Archdemon. I mean, the Archdemon exploded all over me. No, wait. I mean, I exploded when I saw you on a
Jesus Christ, please leave me out of whatever this is, Obama. Maybe Corey has a point. This is way too sus.
Oh, God damn it. It was only a matter of time before Obama bust with the rest of us, and of course Tegan had to be the one to do it. And I already see who is behind this guy, too.
God damn it, I was really hoping I would never see your Redcliffe murdering ass again.
Joe, you're the goddamn reason she is even alive. We could have sacrificed her ass to the blood mage grinder.
I did that for Connor, not so I could see her again. At least this is the last damn time I need to remember her.
You know, Isolde's voice actor sounded like she was escorted by gunpoint, just to say the "Who is this man?" Tegan line.
Oh God, I was really hoping he was going to touch our handboys. Now I need to be the one to play trespasser so I can meet him again.
Eat a dick. I will be the one punching the egg. Obama we have over a year before that, and my comeback arc will be legendary. Also, don't blow your pants because Bran is right here too, next to your first Seuss's Bondo.
I already told you I have been over Bran since I got the Aveline kiss. He just doesn't excite me. And besides, he has spoken for right now.
Awkward. So, can we talk about something else now?
This dude is really blowing a transmission instead of running the city.
Interesting.
And with Bran, Hawk, and Aveline all at a party, who the hell is running the day-to-day in Kirkwall? Now Mommy Meredith has no one to yell at and blame the city's problems on.
This joke definitely would never make it in today's modern audiences gaming, but honestly, I think it still holds up decently well. It's not too offensive or over the top, it's just a slight wink.
Oh, kill me now. I already can see why Joe really wanted to do this goddamn mission and Sebastian's missions first. Because of course it wouldn't be a French party without the goddamn basic bard. Why the hell can't she make herself useful and lockpick the door for us? She definitely has way more cunning than Talus. And probably still has the Dace amulet that POTUS gave her.
Oh my God, Talus and Leliana are side by side. The red head and smells are overwhelming. Humna humna bark bark. Where the fuck is my baby oil? Bark bark?
Okay, muted, we are going to let him calm down. But here is Leliana displaying her elf fetish on full display again. Just like she does in Origins if we are an elf warden.
You meet all sorts of people in Orlais.
To quote my goat Ogren, hot.
Cassandra said she had a mission and that's the reason she was here in the intro. But let's be real, she is just here for the shoes and the attractive elves.
We shouldn't take up more of your time, Leliana.
Goodbye, beautiful. I will see you again once we start Inquisition. Oh, Lord, boys, that was the biggest Biden blast yet. Still feel it in my legs. Oh, God. And the fact Meryl was probably in earshot just makes it hotter.
I really like those shoes.
Anyways, Purple Hawk, it's time to show us some vocal range. Show me what you got.
I think it's swelling. Maker, am I dying?
Oh, look, Talus, I got stung by a bee. I am bee stung hawk.
Man, do something before it's too late.
If I die, make sure the world knows I died at Chateau Haine.
And scene.
Hawk plays a distressed Orlesia noble a little too well. How close to Orlais are the Amels again? Because Mama Hawk might have raised a traitor after all.
The Amels are not that close. They are Kirkwall through and through, although with how many Orlesians are in Kirkwall, it's certainly a possibility. Anyways, looks like Talus is going to roll a charisma check for us here.
Damn, boys, I would have folded under zero pressure if that was me. I am talking emptying my pockets as I take my pants off.
Same, Joe, this would have me thinking one nuclear launch code isn't so bad.
Thank God Morgan and Els don't actually exist, or they would be the biggest threat to national security entirely thanks to you two horny bastards.
We are all just men at the end of the day, Obama. We all have our vices that could lead to a national emergency. Know what I mean?
Who is we? Did you pick up French at this party, Bill? Anyway, let's cut ahead to the actual target, the Duke's son. I want the viewers to be spared from Joe gooning to a third goddamn elf.
I would have been fine, by the way. But this guy gives us the last coin to complete the quest. They are pretty easy to spot except for this one and the one the quartermaster sells. There's no reward for it, but it honors our mother, so we might as well, right?
This is the only time you have ever wanted to get your coins up in your life, Sleepy, and you are just going to throw them into a well. Also, why did this kid stare daggers at that guy and make him leave? Seems kind of weird.
He is worried that he will scare the hose away, Hawk being the hose in question, obviously. Since this dude is trying to pull us, regardless of our gender, fun fact.
Am I the only one getting the vibe that this dude is like a teenager? I imagine that isn't the case. But they could have made his face look the same age as Hawk does. I know this guy does play a minor role in Inquisition, and Trespasser, he attends the Winter Palace peace talks. And he serves as Tegan's counterpart in Trespasser as the Orlesian representative. Unlike Tegan, who demands the Inquisition disband, Cyril tries to be charming.
Okay, I officially found a worse ending to Inquisition than giving up military power and disbanding, and it's becoming a goddamn vassal to the French and this triangle who fumbles the easiest happy ending with Talus any gamer would have cherished.
Forget it.
That Wyvern blood has some kick, doesn't it?
Bro doesn't like elves, I can see him and Hawk have nothing in common. Hawk is a notorious elf lover by this point. It's probably the one rumor we have created ourselves. And not because of Varric.
Women, in either case, you're the answer. He has the key.
So, Joe, you can either riz this guy up and grab the key since it's Pride Month. You can drug him to knock him out. Or you can beat the ever-living shit out of him, punching him in the face, and then slamming your knee in his face for good measure.
Goddamn, I know what option I would pick. I didn't know Hawk had it like that. Might be one of the most renegade punches in the series.
Yeah, I think rocking his shit would sort of ruin the whole stealth heist we have going on. And considering I am not just like Barry. And this guy looks young, I don't want any allegations by rizzing him up, so I am just going to go with the drugs. I'm trying to not get canceled, and that means not rocking the boat. Besides, there are plenty of French people we can introduce to the curb later.
Really an Orlesian party unless someone spikes someone else's drink. I wonder how many people actually have seen the option. I feel like most people either flirt with him or rock his shit since they are way faster than this third option.
The fact Talus just has sedatives on her is more telling than anyone would care to acknowledge. That being said, Joe, we are short on time. Let me just tell you where to go. The wine is actually on the opposite end of the party.
Oh boy, that means I get to see Leliana one more time. My body is ready.
Yeah, enjoy it, Sleepy. It's the last time you get to see her until we get into the peak of Inquisition. Also, should we really be loudly talking about drugging someone in front of all these people? This seems like the opposite of a stealth operation now.
Now, it's fine the loud-ass royalty-free fancy music blocks out all cis conversations, and we are the only ones who have the power of subtitles.
Damn Hawk has done unspeakable horrors to a lot of people, but Cyril is the one person who gets an apology out of the champion, with an honorable head tilt and everything.
Okay, great, bro. Got the Diddy wine special. Can we dunk his head in the toilet for good measure at least? Also, for being the rogue in the party, Talus really let Hawk be the one to do all the heavy lifting of seducing and stealing. Girl might be a good damage dealer, but she needs to earn her keep.
She already does enough for team morale just by joining our party, Donald. She doesn't need to do anything else besides that. It's just too bad she is going to leave once the job is done. We could have fully replaced the tavern wench with the cute nerdy elf with the red hair update.
Talus is good for a one-episode special, but Isabella brings all the boys to the yard on the regular. Sleepy, don't even try. Also, I am starting to suspect she is hiding something here, boys. She is dancing around the truth, the same way Veronica did before telling us she is a part of the Brotherhood of Steel. Don't tell me we have another cliché rogue with a tragic past trope.
She is being pretty vague about the jewel and why she wants it, but something tells me Hawk is having fun just fucking with Orlesians and enjoying the view while he does can't say I blame him.
Picking the flirt option again now that Meryl is out of earshot, Joe. Do I have to bring in Maury to do a lie detector test special episode on cheating, or are you going to course correct and stay faithful?
Just flirting for the content, Barry. Same thing you did when you made kissy faces at Zevron during your episode.
Also, that's my girl being quick with those renegade interrupts. That's the shit I like.
I agree, girl got that dexterity and flexibility. Bro could have just pretended to be blind and deaf, but he had to call for help, and now he's another victim of the Dragon Age murder knife.
So tell me, Joe, are you planning on doing this section stealthily, or are you going loud?
I said I would be showing how to finish every achievement in this playthrough, and I meant it. It's time to show off my payday skills and go in quiet.
Joe, you and me are van buddies in Payday, or at best, Obama and George put you on camera duty. You are a goddamn liability in stealth, and I am predicting alarms and Orlesian response times in under a minute.
I'm glad you agree. Let's go. When you are.
Also, no goddamn way they made a stealth section in a Dragon Age game with actual different controls.
They did. It's not the best. In fact, it is somewhat clunky.
But for using what they had in the engine, they did a pretty good job. It's a solid line between challenging gameplay but still engaging. And it's nice to see something other than the typical wave combat grind of Dragon Age 2.
Oh, please, you are only glazing this section because you are a rogue main Barak, and your idea of finishing yourself off is lightly crouching behind everyone and feeling morally superior because you finished the mission with no kills.
Oh, sorry, Donald, should I break out the iPad so you can watch the Michael Bay films while we sneak around? I get this is hard to watch if there is no explosions or blood-curdling screams.
Looks like Hawk picked up the distraction perk from Dead by Daylight, and his idea of stealth is to slightly crouch himself and move slowly while giving himself scoliosis. Behavior, go ahead and put him in Dead by Daylight. The animations are all there for you to use. Also, look, Joe, another redhead to admire your favorite.
Oh, not really, Bill. She hates elves. That's an automatic no from me. Anyway, what's the solution for poisoning Leopold again, Barry?
Sure thing, it's 4 fish, 3 cheese slices, and 5 Navette.
Thanks, Barry. This quest is just trial and error, and I don't feel like participating in it. Anyway, I made the Wyverns food the Chipotle way, so now his tummy is going to hurt later on.
Spoilers, I guess, if you couldn't figure it out yet, the Duke and his pet Pokemon are the final boss of this mission.
Kind of a step down. Last DLC, we fought an ancient T-Vinter Magister that came to life and reinvented the Blight, and now we are fighting some French dude riding drakes like he is Hiccup.
Way to fuck with the dramaticness of my final boss, Donald. Why don't you just sit back and watch me keep blazing through this stealth section bonking armed guards like Donkey Kong?
Okay, that is definitely not a word, but good work, Joe. You have the 2 mechanics of the stealth section down at this point. I always found it funny in stealth sections where the enemies get knocked out, and instead of panicking or going on red alert when they wake up, they just think they dozed off or they passed out because they have an alcohol problem. It's always a funny trope.
Well, that's a massive negative on Hawk's feats. He can only knock out a guard for 10 seconds. That is some weak shit. If the champion of Kirkwall punches you, then you should be out all night and half into the next day.
Donald, they are legit wearing plate armor. The fact Hawk slugged them hard enough to knock him out and didn't recoil from breaking his hand is already a top-tier feat.
Not to shit on your parade, Donald, but knocking out someone for over 4 minutes causes them to have possible permanent brain damage, which essentially means killing them, or something worse than killing them, which is really dark, although I suppose fitting for certain types of Hawks.
I hate to shit on someone's parade, but that means all those times you did a pacifist run of Dishonored or Splinter Cell and only knocked people out instead of killing them. If you did it for more than 4 minutes, you probably permanently ruined their lives.
Well, even if I am not causing permanent brain damage, people are going to know the legend of Sneaky Joe. Today, boys, 1 knockout and rock throw at a time.
Good work learning the 2 new mechanics that make this shit easier than a modern Pokemon game, Sleepy. But that name is never catching on.
Well, you're guiding yourself okay so far, Joe. I guess you have played this map more times than I thought.
What was that scrabbling noise?
I don't know how you got detected there, but that counts as a death, Sleepy.
Fuck off, it doesn't count as a death. The game over screen never appeared. At most, this counts as a down and a revive.
Yeah, the game over screen is like the one and only factor that determines death, so that's the rule. That being said, Joe, lock in here. I think what happened is you stepped into the red detection area. As you knocked him out, the game only registers the detections as turned off. After the knockout animation happens, not before.
Jesus Christ, I would never have imagined we would need to be coders just to sneak around a damn French mansion. These AI are more advanced than even the elite bosses we have fought in our series.
Something about educating us on advanced AI seems really ironic. Barry, not sure why, though.
I don't know why that would be Joe, because 4 presidents with different lives and backgrounds all meeting weekly in the White House to spend our limited time yapping about Dragon Age, and edited by someone who has never met us before in his life, has nothing to do with AI.
Thank you, Bill. That was a very specific and accurate statement. Also, I am all about the money grind, but that chest up ahead was the most worthless diversion we have found yet.
Also up ahead, we have the 3rd and final piece of the jewelry set, Anxiety, which is the main reward for doing the mission in stealth besides the funny dialogue.
Oh, good point, Bill. I actually forgot to mention that Joe has been collecting all 3 pieces of that jewelry set. I might as well talk about it now. So viewers, there are 3 jewelry pieces Joe has been collecting while doing this stealth mission. The amulet is in the first open balcony, which we cut out, but it was right after Joe knocked out his first guy. The first ring is in the center room, right after the amulet where we got the balcony key, and the third is right here in the back corner behind the officer of the last open balcony. The 3 pieces are only here when sneaking and are only able to be worn by Hawk, unfortunately. Wearing the entire set gives increased crit chance a bonus to lockpicking, immunity to critical hits, increased experience, stealth on hit, and plus 10 cunning, which makes it the perfect set for a rogue Hawk in later game, but as a mage Hawk it is more or less useless to us.
Still, they are a fine addition to our collection, and to be fair, if you are a rogue Hawk, it makes the most thematic sense to stealth into the chateau. I am sure our comment lore master believe it did it with their Archer Hawk after all. That's right, man, I am calling you out.
Well, way to put our viewers on the nose. More than a promposal, Joe. But good work finishing the stealth section. Now you just have to figure out a way through the automatic Iron Gate locking system installed in our fantasy fort.
I assume, just like most Elder Scrolls traps, this system works on pressure plates. But I admit it does feel like they literally installed a proximity trigger in this area just to screw with us. Also, this next section happens regardless of going stealthy or loud. Anyway, Joe, this is the first puzzle and it's sort of a warm-up, so good luck.
Oh, hell yes, that means it's puzzle time, boys. I get to do this puzzle. Then the optional vault puzzle like 10 minutes later. The next 30 minutes is going to be peak Biden gameplay.
Oh, goddammit, watching Joe solve puzzles with my own eyes makes me wish I was Ray Charles, because that way I would be goddamn dead.
It won't be that bad, and we can get some extra loot for our trouble here, too. Not to diminish your achievement here, Joe, but this puzzle is the same logic as the Skyrim Nordic Ruin puzzles. The goal of them is just to prove you have the ability to think critically rather than actually having a solution. Joe, you are already on the right track. Do you want to explain what the solution here is?
Sure thing, Barry. So the first solution, like you said, is brain dead easy. You both have to stand on the plates on opposite sides to proceed until you kick the statues. Once you do that, the solution becomes slightly less obvious. You have to then go to the same side and have one person on the upper level while one person is on the lower level to unlock the other two ends and reach the treasure chests. Also, there is always a companion quest item in the vault. We haven't really talked about those yet. Do you want to clue the viewers into that?
Yeah, Obama is fully embracing his cuck tendencies by helping his muscle mommy find love poems for another man. Good to see him moving up in the world.
Okay, blow me, Donald, but viewers, every companion we bring in, except for Meryl, for some odd reason has a side quest that has us hunting for various notes across the mission. In Aveline's case, it is 3 poems, 2 of which are in the stealth section of the mission, and 1 later on. Collecting all of these items for the companions allows us to get a unique jewelry piece that always complements the companion the mission is for. These missions aren't heavy in lore. The only slightly relevant one is if we bring Varric, we find out someone is publishing fake sequels to Hard in Hightown under his name. The mission that gets a follow-up in Inquisition. So your best bet is to bring 2 companions on this mission that you use all the time in your party, in our case, Aveline and Meryl.
There you go, for the couple dozen people playing along with us. That's your advice for this DLC.
This last chest wasn't cooperating, it turns out. I needed to step on the opposite chest plate for the chest and the note the chest was sitting on to unlock, however that works. Anyways, it's time to loot, boys.
Something wrong?
I don't know.
Well, it looks like you triggered the silent alarm instead, Joe. It's kind of bullshit since we did so well. I guess one of those concussions we gave the guards didn't stick. Don't worry though, we can definitely take on all these guys at once, boys.
All right, Heavy Paws Bill, you didn't have to say it like that, but no, we can't take all these guys on. We removed our armor and equipment taking the silent route, so all we have is our mage stick and daggers.
Oh shit, no, I didn't mean in like a fight, boys.
All right, Mega Paws Bill, and chill out. We are about to have a massive lore drop about our baddie elf girl next door.
All of them are crazy, and most of them are killers.
Clever man. Have you also deduced that your elven friend is qunari?
Wait, what? God damn it, how could this hot, nerdy elf waifu be an undercover horned communist? I have never gone softer in all my days. I feel so goddamn betrayed right now.
It happens to guys our age, Donald, but I don't care if she is qunari. Andrastian follows the religion of the tickets. Please, guys, she is cute. That's all that matters to these old eyes.
Wait, Donald. Bill spoiled her identity during his comment question. How did you not at least know that?
I tuned it out after I answered my question. I ain't reading all that.
Wow, thanks, Donald.
Don't be foolish.
Damn, the Duke really clapped back with the Duolingo app, Translate Barack.
All right, very rough translation here given the context. But Talus was saying only alone is defeat certain. And Prosper responded saying alone is where I intend you to end, although I could be wrong about a word or two. Also, surprise visit from Mommy Cassandra, yippee!
Maybe they cut her horns off.
I guess this is where we are supposed to learn that not all qunari are horned dudes. But we already learned that in Act 2 when the elves converted and were given titles. I guess the game just wants to spoon-feed us a little extra hard.
Honestly, I think they cut away to Varric and Cassandra here just to spoil Barry a little, and to remind us that qunari don't have to have horns. But now it's time for a boss-level amount of yap and character history into Talus, since this is the only time we get to learn a little bit more about the girl herself.
I still feel so pissed that she is a horn dude and didn't tell me before I started to simp for her that is only slightly better than being a T-Vinter. Let me guess, this girl is going to pull the classic, I didn't lie to you, I just didn't tell you, move.
Something like that, but who really cares who she is? She is obviously a good person, she has helped us, and she's a cutie. It's the perfect triple threat.
Of course you don't care about the red flags, all you see is the red hair. You Paragon love is love liberal, she lied to us, doesn't that matter to anyone?
Donald Isabella lied to us for a whole 3 years. Well, it's not okay that Talus lied to us for a total of 3 days. That is hardly a comparable thing to look over for your favorite character in this game.
Have you seen the chest size differences, Obama? That is completely different. Just dispense the lore on who Salid is. I know you are fiending to yap about the redhead with Sleepy over here.
You could have worded it nicely. Well, it's ironic that you mentioned Tevinter because Talus was actually born in Tevinter and sold into slavery by her parents to pay off her debts.
Oh, God damn it. She is approaching worse than here. heal her robe at this point. What next? She dabbles in blood magic.
She was a slave until she was 10 or so, where the ship she was on was attacked by the qunari and the slaves were brought to one of the qunari fortress for new lives in the Q1. Originally, Talus was just going to be a laborer as she was deemed unfit for conversion. But Salit, the man that freed her, intervened and took her under her wing to be a Talus or those who solve. There she became his individual apprentice, where she learned how to infiltrate and assassinate, and operated mostly in Navora and Orlays, where she could blend in as a normal elf.
It's hard not to stand out when you're a baddie, though. And that is a big problem with Talus's character. Despite being loyal to the Qun, she has a massive problem with authority and following orders, and often doesn't follow orders to the letter, which gets her in trouble with Salit and the Ben Asareth, who would rather the job fail than be done the wrong way. She often gets demoted to laboring after each failed job. But for some reason, she is always allowed to return to her role as the Talus. Even now, she is disobeying orders by pursuing this mission.
That sounds like either massive plot armor on her part or a writing error, boys. I mean, doesn't the Arishok get straight up executed for failing to bring home Isabella and the relic? How can the leader get executed for half completing a task, but Talus just gets demoted from it?
Well, Talus isn't one of the three triumvirates. She is just a spy. Just like Iron Bull gets second chances, she would too. I admit it is somewhat of a plot hole, likely to humanize the qunari, since part of this DLC's point is to allow the player to form a more nuanced look at the qunari. But it isn't too unbelievable to think the qunari give second chances when they view all people as tools of the Qun.
A lot of this has to do with our perception of qunari up until this point. Until Mark of the Assassin, we have only ever met soldiers. Both Sten and the Arishok say they threaten execution if they lose their sword or fail their mission. Our soldiers are weapons to the qunari and go against orders to more successfully complete the mission. Yeah, sure, the qunari are still upset at her disobedience, but it is more tolerated than a soldier's failure would be.
Well, that sort of reminds me of Caesar's legion, surprisingly. Most of their soldiers are indoctrinated and taught to blindly follow their superiors' orders without question. But their spies like Volpe and Kolta constantly disobey superiors and still earn high praise in the order because of their success at spy work. I doubt the comparison was intentional. But it does help give me some copium for why Talus is the way she is without her being a slap in the face of the lore.
I guess Iron Bull has a history of being less indoctrinated while still being a top spy, and even had to surrender himself for not following orders, and he still was repurposed, so Talus doing it isn't impossible to believe. But I still have beef with the lies and the differences. I would almost take the ball of anxiety at this point.
Sten is cool, but Talus is a 10 out of 10. And even if you don't like her for her voice actor, or because she tries too hard to be funny. In Cool, you have to admit she sets up Iron Bull and the Ben Asareth perfectly, and almost everyone agrees that Iron Bull is a top squad mate, even you like him, Donald.
I like him because he acts like a Krogan and doesn't use words like callow, seizing the means, or revolution, but fine, you make a fair point. We can hear the cute commie out for another hour of gameplay.
See, it's perfect. Donald is even giving her a nickname now. It's perfect. Also, the other reason you want to wait to do this DLC in Act 3, besides all the cameos you can meet at the party, is because Talus has special dialogue. If we had become respected by the Arishok.
Yeah, the developers thought about just limiting the DLCs to Act 3 only, since both of these quests and lore happened in Act 3 before the Mage Templar War, when Hawk is the champion. Origins had a much more structured path when it came to the DLC stories, since Witch Hunt was always the end of the game. However, player agency ruled the day here, which took more time, but ultimately was the best move, since not everyone plays this game for the narratively accurate decision boys. That being said, all of these DLCs in Act 3 were supposed to be finished before Exalted March, which was going to be the end game for Hawk, and included the decisions made in Legacy and Mark.
Goddamn, just hearing all this makes me so damn sad that we missed out on an Exalted March expansion of this game. I feel like all our complaints in Act 3 would have been eased or resolved.
It's too bad Dragon Age doesn't have as massive as a modding community as Mass Effect or Fallout. If it did, we likely would have had a mod fan-made Exalted March that took 10 years in the making, like Fallout London.
As interesting as that would have been, I can't say I am that beat up by not having Exalted March be fan-made, because as cool as some of those fan-based mods are, they usually are swimming with controversy. An aggressive gooning that might fall flat in the setting of Dragon Age that takes its setting far more seriously than the Fallout setting.
Oh, no Dragon Age fans being horny perish the thought it's not like we have built a whole sub-community on our YouTube that is obsessed with cute girls and waifus. Also, Joe, I noticed that you aren't really taking a stance on the whole qunari issue. You're being very neutral about it, unlike Donald.
I don't want to miss my shot in scoring while in prison, Bill. But honestly, I am not that pressed about the qunari one way or the other. I don't want them to conquer the lands, but their society does offer an attractive alternative for elves. and the rejects of society. I would say I have more beef with how they treat mages, but those hornless Cerebus deserve it for their crimes.
That's part of the reason it's unfortunate the game doesn't fully go into her origin story about being a slave and the abuse she suffered at the hands of Tiviner, and why she is so devoted to the Qunari people.
Oh shit, I forgot that Aveline was supposed to be on Meryl watching duty. Looks like she is already on her last leg.
My girl may be annoying, but her perception game is on point.
And you only tell me now?
I wasn't sure. Maybe there are a lot of tiles broken.
That banter is okay, but my personal favorites are Isabella and Aveline having a bestie catfight, and Sebastian and Bethany taking a break from their search of Hawk to openly bang on the tile floor.
Viewers, he is lying. That doesn't happen.
Why didn't you
But speaking of things that shouldn't
before?
happen, how the hell did Talus pick the lock on a portcullis gate with no lock? Is she a reality bender? Did she divine that door to open on an Elder Scroll?
Don't worry about it, my girl has just built different boys, but more importantly, now that we are free from jail, it's finally time for some goddamn puzzles. Let's get it, boys.
First off, how did Talus and Hawk change clothes instantly? Did they always have that armor on them, or did Aveline bring them a change of clothes? Secondly, Obama, hand me that firebrand. I've been cooking on the Oval Office fireplace. I am ready to be stricken blind instead of watching this.
Oh, don't be a big baby. There is only 3 types of puzzles to even solve. How bad can it be? And just remember, Joe, you can have each party member equip a different color to save time backtracking.
Thanks for the tip, Barry. Now start that timer, because this shit is about to be a speed run record. Just watch me. Oh, hey, Shale, what are you doing in the art vault? Did a bird wander in or something?
Wait, hang on. The puzzle is just equipping colors and opening doors? That shit is easier than Pokemon gym puzzles? Maybe this won't be worse than watching live leaks footage with the boys?
Unfortunately, Donald, the door section isn't the puzzle in question. It's the second half of this color puzzle that we are all worried about. Also, Joe, you know that this guy isn't Shale White, it's just a normal rune golem?
I don't know what you mean. This is a compact rune golem that is clearly casting stone aura. If that isn't Shale, I don't know what is. Anyways, now that Shale is taking a nap, a picture appeared on the blank screen. I wonder what it means.
What in the Super Mario 64 do we have going on here? Magic pictures? Also, Joe, are you trying to make a new super virus in the mixer? What the hell are you doing?
There's a different color locked door up ahead. I know mixing blue and orange will make a new color. Both Aveline and Talus are redheads. That has to be the answer. It's so obvious.
Joe, blue and orange makes up a brown type of color. That is not the answer here. We learned this in first grade art. You need to combine primary colors.
What the fuck are primary colors?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay, so combining Aveline and Hawk's colors were the answer. I guess she and Hawk had more chemistry than we thought, right, boys?
I appreciate the sentiment, Joe, but no, just remember what colors you can combine and what ones you can't. There is a pattern here. Also, what are you doing with the tiles now?
I am flipping all of them over on the correct side. Obviously, that is the correct answer. There couldn't be another solution here.
Joe, you are making it harder to step up and defend you here. Just move on for now, please.
All right, watch me speed run this tile flipping puzzle in record time. That way, all of you can hop off and stop judging me. All right, so that one does that many, and this one equally does this many tiles. Easy money.
I swear I have seen this type of puzzle before in mobile games and shit. This can't be an original puzzle.
Right on the money, Donald. This puzzle is used all the time in games like Last Labyrinth, the Lego Skywalker Saga, and a few others. There's always the same solution to it, and no, Joe is not doing it the right way.
Joe, do you just want me to put up the code or something? You aren't going to randomly guess this one. There's like a 1 in 375 chance you guess the exact random pattern blindly.
Yeah, well, there's also a 1 in 375 chance you lick my nuts. But we all know how that went, didn't we?
What the fuck does that mean? Joe, I swear to God, I will take off my belt and then you're really going...
All right, Obama's taken a minute to cool off outside and Joe agreed to switch puzzles before I commit elder abuse on camera.
Well, at least Joe is taking the only advice he was given. Maybe there is hope yet for him.
All right, boys, we got another blue color. I would bet my left nut that this time the combination of blue and orange is the answer.
Oh, okay, never mind. I really spoke too soon, Joe. When I go low, you go lower. It's honestly impressive.
Bill, I may need you to physically restrain me from the eye brand if this keeps up.
Okay, so the spinny tiles seem to spin 5 other tiles every time I touch one, and there's 5 rows of 5, so maybe once I hit 5 of them, then it will balance out and I will win.
Joe, when you play Spider-Man, you turn the puzzle option off right. Because like certain games, puzzles should not be exposed to your logic, for example.
Yeah, because I am too good at them. Okay, what does this lever do after I hit 5? Oh, it just resets it, goddammit. Oh, hey guys, I found Shale again. She keeps getting locked in different colored rooms. Classic Shale situation. Anyways, enjoy the nap, big girl. And oh lord, another random Magic Mario picture. What are they trying to tell me here? I don't want to buy from Orlesian art students.
It's almost like they want to show they are different and it's a code, Joe.
All right, and this does this and that does that. But then if this does this and that does that, then this must do this.
Donald would put the poker away.
The numbers, Mason, what do they mean?
Joe, I swear to God I will give you $1 million, your own Cold Stone business, and never investigate your presidency again if you play a brain age game on YouTube so we can calculate how gone your head really is.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go.
Wait, the tiles all have different symbols and these don't flip multiple at once. I think I got it now, boys, so at the color puzzle I have to put Talus on top of Meryl to create Purple Hawk. Just how our Purple Hawk will be combining the two of them later, right, boys?
All right, Joe, that's what I like to see. That is the last side treasure room. At least good shit, Joe.
Well, that's 2 out of 3, but we still have the goddamn tile puzzle for Joe to bash his head on a few dozen times before he gets it right.
Not this time, Donald. I am letting the maker take the wheel. This time it's going to be solved with 0 difficulty.
What the hell do you mean by that, Joe? Is this some kind of late-stage puzzle psychosis, or are you doing a long con for some kind of nuts joke? Because either way, I am not following you, so this isn't going to work.
Donald, hold on a minute. Now, I am getting older, and my memory isn't as accurate as it used to be. But I am pretty sure Joe is actually solving the puzzle now. So far, he has gotten more than half of the steps right so far. Don't ask me how flipping a tile and learning his first-grade colors led him to this point. But somehow it's working. I guess anything is possible when thinking about elves being on top of each other, boys.
Holy shit, are you yanking my dick right now?
All right, I am back, boys. What's the status update?
Well, somehow Joe did all 3 of the portrait puzzles, and now he is somehow completing the center tile puzzles to unlock the fire vault.
Oh shit, good work, Joe. I knew you had it in you. Sorry about almost choking you out with a belt earlier.
No problem, Barry. What's an attempted charge among friends?
Joe, did you take some ADHD medication or something during these cuts? How the hell did you figure this out?
I told you, Donald, through Leliana and the Maker, all things are possible. But to further explain to the viewers, when you complete the color or tile puzzles in a room, a portrait comes up which shows you the combination for the fire vault. The people wearing masks represent a tile that you need to flip over, and the people not wearing masks mean a tile that you need to stay unflipped. Once all 3 are flipped over, you get the treasure, which is the full set of the unique class armor for Hawk, which in our case is a set of chantry robes that we will not be wearing since they are respectful but not approved drip.
Well, with the puzzle section over, we can get back to the gameplay again. Finally, there are 2-story quests for companions. One of them for my girl Eveline herself, which is right past the vault. The other one is for Isabella, which, if you don't mind, Joe, I am going to input a party cheat so we can see it. We only need Isabella for the quest. Once we move on in the story, we can switch them back.
Oh, fuck. Why didn't you warn me we are going to see Mommy Isabella soon? Goddamn, never mind, this DLC is the best damn release since Witch Hunt. It really does the waifus right.
Sure thing, Barry. If it shows us every single quest line for the viewers, I am sure there's plenty of people who have never even done this quest line before watching us. Also, Donald has a point between the cutie Talus and her importance on the story. Now, Isabella and Aveline get their own special quest, but not anyone else. It looks like the writers really wanted to give special attention to the girls with this DLC.
I mean, waifus really do sell games, boys. And while I can't say the same thing about Aveline, Isabella did deserve a extra companion quest, considering her Act 2-1 was just a main quest. That was really short, and her Act 3 quest is even shorter.
Oh, God, I missed that strut so much. Welcome back, Mommy.
My thoughts exactly, Bill, besides this quest is a nice transition point in her story, given not only what Donald's decision is likely going to be for her Act 3 quest, and her fate overall as the official Bioware canon has her establishing a pirate ship with a full crew after her time in Dragon Age 2.
Bioware canon never misses with how they reward the best characters like Isabella and Fenris, but goddamn talking statues, that's a massive throwback. We haven't seen those things since the Veilguard Tavinner fortune teller during Witch Hunt.
Yeah, talking statues are a classic Dragon Age encounter. But unlike the cursed ones from Origins, these cursed statues are fully reversible and we can cure them. It's actually a nice character moment for Isabella to show her growth through the series.
Some might say she shows us growth every day. But you have a point, Joe. Isabella has gone from someone who only looked out for number 1 and couldn't be bothered to care about people that weren't her to someone who now puts others before herself while clothed, as Aveline so elaborately put it.
The Paragon mind disease is contagious, but Isabella still looks good while doing it and is still a business owner with a grind at the end of the day, so we love her anyway. Why are you guys so pressed on her putting others before herself? What's the reward for freeing them anyway, Obama?
You can either give Isabella the Dagger of the 4 Winds, which deals electricity damage, can have up to 4 rune slots an OK weapon. But honestly, the Sky Priest dagger we got earlier is far better, or she can give up the dagger to free the pirates, which doesn't give us a in-game reward, but does add these 3 to her crew as they now owe her a life debt.
That's lame as hell. They don't even give you a different reward or gold. It's just get something in game or get a narrative pat on the back. I was at least expecting a hidden sex scene or something.
Come on, Donald, this helps Isabel out in the long run, since what's a pirate ship without a crew? You know firsthand how easy a one-man pirate ship gets ganked in the waters. Just look at Sea of Thieves.
We're still waiting on an invite for those games, by the way, boys.
It's a four-person game, Bill, unfortunately, so you have to wait for George to hop off for me to fall asleep.
Which is all the damn time, by the way, since you can never lock in on the grind, Sleepy.
Okay, fine. Bill, I promise next game I will save you a slot.
It's just a legend.
Make us truth, Captain. It's as real as life.
Anyways, where am I going now to get the dagger, Barry?
The 4 gems representing the 4 winds are in the locked vaults where we had to combine the colors to get in. They should still be open, so we just have to run around and collect them. The dagger itself is in the main vault after we deactivate 2 of the fire puzzles, so just loop back around, pick everything up, and we can cut back to the ending. While we are looping back, we can finish Evelyn's quest too.
Sounds good. That at least saves the viewers from having to backtrack, even if we still have to do it. I am honestly amazed Optimal Obama over here didn't start this quest before Joe's puzzle Lowlight Reel.
I didn't remember the cheat until after I came back, and even if I did remember it, I wasn't about to get in the middle of Joe doing puzzles.
Come on, Hawk.
Anyways, the Origins references don't just stop with the stone statues we are about to be in for a treat with this next quest concerning my girl.
Is the reference the cell that is covered in gamer poop, Barry? Because Aveline is firmly grasping that in her hand right now.
No, Joe, she's not looking for based gamer parodies. She's clearly looking for some kind of French nonsense that has to do with her dad. I guess she found some daddy issues after all.
Oh boy, this is one of my favorites. Barack, you want to tell them, or should we let this play out?
And just let it play out.
Oh shit.
Oh, crackers.
Oh, yep, there it is. We finally get a little bit more lore on these little things just one game later.
God damn it, that thing is about to fracture at her touch. At least it's a Revenant in Dragon Age 2 and not Origins Revenant that could actually cause a party wipe if we weren't careful.
Or you know, Aveline just chucks that shit on the ground, releasing the Revenant anyway.
I guess it's good that we swapped out Meryl here for this one quest, since the Revenant. An undead completely resist her nature damage. Still, it sucks I have to stun lock this thing on my own now without her dispel.
You should be fine, Joe. This fight is far easier than the Sky Horror fight. It's just a lot of blunt instruments. While you're fighting them, we can go over the small bit of lore that we know about the Black Vials.
Oh boy, it's been a while since we just killed zombies and let Obama explain things. This is a return to form after all.
That's what expansions do, big dog. This whole quest was used to poke fun at how Black Vials are scattered around random dungeons without proper guard, and just waiting to be grabbed by adventurers. These vials are used as phylacteries similar to how the arcane warrior spirit was sealed in the Elven Ruins. The Revenants are often sealed with a scroll that uses the Revenant's true name in the binding spell, and is marked with a handprint of blood. They must also sometimes be sealed with their possessions, as 2 of these bound Revenants in Origins have a unique piece of gear.
The bloody handprint thing always reminds me of the Dark Brotherhood for some reason. Still, this was a nice way to close out one of Origin's big mysteries. But why the hell was the Revenant note sealed with a ring for Aveline and a note about her father?
Good segue, Bill. We only know a fraction of her father's history. But we know that he was a Chevalier before losing his patron to an assassin in the Grand Game. After that, he was disgraced and forced into exile. He had a daughter with an unknown woman, likely someone who was a Ferelden herself and focused primarily on being a good dad, never talking about his service in Orlais, but hoping that his daughter would be a better knight than he ever was. We know, despite going into exile, that he kept most of his fortune as a knight, since he gave it all up to King Calian so that his daughter could become an officer in his service.
This is all fascinating lore on your thick girl, but stop the yaps a moment, because Joe is finally about to get his first death of the episode here, which is a Christmas miracle. He has had it too good for too long.
I think the puzzle psychosis hasn't worn off from earlier, because this was a massive fumble in the third act from you, Joe. These guys aren't even new enemies.
Oh, fuck! I didn't realize how much of a goddamn meat grinder this big guy was. I hate to pull this out before the final fight, but looks like I am going to have to use the other mythal grenade you left me after the secret boss fight, Barry. I don't think I can finish this fight with just Aveline and Isabella.
It's sad that 2/3 of the original Wyverns can't clutch up, but I understand you have a full party now and you can drop a haste speed buff, so you should be fine. And back to what I was saying, though, this is purely speculation, but I imagine losing his title as a knight was a sore spot for Benoit, considering he raised Aveline on stories of great knights, and even named her after one. Considering he still had a small fortune upon his exile, I wonder if he hired some bards to finish the Grand Game and avenge his patron that was killed. That patron being known as She of the Red, the bard did fulfill his contract with Benoit, but was captured by Prosper in the process and died protecting his contract in one of these Black Vials. Well, hear better than me explaining everything. Let's hear it from my girl herself.
Demon hunters, apparently. Maybe someone else found out how they do whatever it is they do.
I like that theory, but I have one thing to add to make it a little more dramatic. We have no confirmation if Benoit had Aveline before or after him leaving Orlais. And we have no idea who Aveline's mom is, as Aveline claims she never met her and only remembers her hair. What if she of the Red the Patron who died was actually Aveline's mother, and Benoit hired the bards not just for regular revenge on losing his job, but to avenge his lover? And Benoit hired the bards not just for regular revenge on losing his job, but to avenge his lover and mother of his child.
Holy shit now. That is some premium lore crafting Joe Good shit. I guess the psychosis finally wore off.
Not to be a downer, but that would mean Aveline isn't a Ferelden native, she's a French girl, and reverse Leliana. Would Callian, and more importantly Loghain, really let her in his service if they knew that?
That was my hesitation too, but it's not like birth certificates exist in this setting. If Aveline's father just lied about it, who would be the wiser? I could go either way with that theory because it is the most interesting option. But given Aveline's focus on justice and honor, I could easily see her dad being focused on bringing down the people who killed his patron and shamed his honor as a knight. However, Aveline doesn't seem too pressed one way or another, so that is where this quest in theory ends, sadly.
Not exactly the most satisfying ending. Plus, whatever she might find may hurt the image of her dad, and she doesn't want that as much as the viewers don't want to give up hope that Bioware can make a good dad figure.
What do you mean? They already have that example with POTUS. He is the best at everything, including being a father. Anyways, what does the ring do, Barak?
Yeah, good segue. We don't want to put POTUS's parenting skills under too big of a spotlight. The ring we get is not scaled, but reflects 100% of basic attack damage Aveline takes back at the attacker. One of the DLC items that is good at any stage of the game, however, there are stronger late-game accessories for warriors, so we may or may not get use out of it. But the next quest we have to turn in has a far better payoff narratively.
Well, never mind. First things first.
Yeah, but it sucks that my pirate queen gets to miss out on an item reward, but the big girl got one, even if it's mid. Clear waifu favoritism, Bioware.
It's a cursed dagger that belonged to a blood mage.
That doesn't mean we should throw it in the trash. We could have kept it and put it to good use, killing different blood mages.
Your morality is certainly amazed, Donald. Well, even if you don't care about the curse, there's a elf damsel trapped in stone that we need to rescue. Do you really think Hawk would just sit back and not save her narratively based on how we have been playing?
Very interesting perspective, Bill. Well, a few fun facts about this quest. The statue models are used again on the Storm Coast. In Western Approach and Inquisition, although they don't talk, so it's likely not the same people, just a reused asset for environmental flavor. Also, here's a note that hopefully everyone recognizes now, but Paisley Pete is doing the Captain Morgan's rum pose.
No. Maker, you are such a bad influence on me. I can't leave them like this. Fine.
Isabella's really growing as a human, even you have to admit that Barry. When I asked her if she really wanted to leave them here, she gave it up.
Well, that only happens if you have her come back in Act 2 during the Arashok confrontation. If you do this quest in Act 1 or early Act 2, she won't bother and will leave with the dagger. But fine, I can appreciate that she is growing as a person. Maybe 2 has more character growth than I remembered.
I lost a priceless dagger and gained 3 disloyal thieving sea dogs.
Well, now that the waifus are satisfied, we can get back to the main story, and goddamn, that is a shit ton of water.
We learn about the origin of this cave in Last Flight, but it was Garahel's sister Asaya, who used her magic and coordination to fill the cavern with water for the refugees.
Pretty cool of her. I'll try to remember that when she becomes a Disney villain 2 games later that steals baby griffins.
Yeah, I won't. In fact, I will personally drag the robe back here and drown her for poetic irony.
Also, now I'm separated from my foot. Boys, these bars may contain me physically. I will sing for your return.
Damn communist cowards, but wait, hold on. What did he say about breaking mages? The Robe Emporium would like to hear what you have to say, my good man.
Donald, we agreed to scrap that idea due to budget failure. It's in Section 19 of our deal.
I am just saying we should hear him out. I mean, why are we even fighting this guy? He looks like he has a lot of good ideas.
We are fighting him because he is literally a chastened that is blindly loyal to the Duke despite being born in Ferelden. I mean, hell, we skipped the scene. But the Duke literally leaves him trapped with Hawk if we try to leave the manor, so his boss doesn't give a shit about him, but he is still going to risk his life for the bag. Also, I completely forgot about this aspect, but the other reason we freed the pirates is they actually help us fight the boss here and stop us from being swarmed by extra ads since the 3 pirates are immortal.
They have to be immortal given the fact they were trapped in stone without food and water for years. Also, Donald, it looks like the immortal pirates curb stomped the back row of mages for us anyway. So instead of a dagger to kill mages, we got 3 drunk pirates to kill mages.
Well, I am glad that the new additions to the pirate crew have a Templar grind set mentality. If they are going to serve under the Pirate Queen, they need at least something based about them. Also, this Chasen dude might have great opinions on mage oppression, but strategy-wise, he really didn't think this through.
Oh my God, she's back, boys. Let my song carry my love to victory.
I just think you need time to know that I'm the guy to make it real. The feelings you don't dare to feel. I'll bend the world to our will, and we'll make time stand still.
God damn it, Joe. What did I say about too many obscure internet song references? This is getting too meta.
Hop-off berry singing and hot elves are what the viewers want. And speaking of what the viewers want, let's get into some romance competition donations. We have a few big ones to cover for Josie and Solus both. As always, we are going to start with the biggest wallet of last episode and a new personal record for our channel with the biggest Solus supporter on the internet. Thank you for the $400 donation from Robert Wadsworth, who sings the Song of the Dreadwolf with a beautiful poem. He does indeed walk the path of wisdom, and may he not walk that path alone and fix what is broken in Thetis. This is a great read and a great dedication to a well-written character. Thank you for this absolutely insane donation. You didn't have to do that much. And we would never have imagined that much, but this is a beautiful gift to wake up to that our editor will cherish. You have brought Solus back to the top again right in front of Josie. Thank you so much for this, and good luck in the romance competition as always.
Yeah, Robert is going to be tough to beat, but the human romances are still in this fight right behind Solus. And we have 2 more donations to shout out. Thank you, as always, Anti-Ijuo Tasniemi for the 100 European money donation split for both Cass and Josie. We split this one evenly between Josie and Cass, which I greatly appreciate, as I am still holding up hope for Cass personally. But thank you, as always, for your consistent support of this channel before and after the romance competition. We also have a new donation from King Remus 11, who donated $20 to Mommy Cassandra, and is now fully caught up on the series, which is as impressive as it is based. Thank you for your donation and time, and good luck in the Waifu Wars.
I can take this last one, boys. Thank you, Corey Radcliffe, for this massive $100 donation for Josie. Any donation that involves banging a hot receptionist is not only Donald approved, but Bill approved now too. Josie has really come a long way in this competition, and she is right behind the egg, so don't give up. We still have a few Dragon Age episodes and a few months of content for your waifu to catch up. Thank you again for this insane support of the channel, and good luck in the Waifu Wars.
All right, good luck to the human supporters on Stomping the Egg, even though I have to respect that Robert makes money moves. But now that the most based character in this DLC is taken out, I guess it's about time to reach the dramatic conclusion with the far less interesting elf communist.
Donald, you were just drooling over her an hour ago. In this episode, did all of your love go out the window the second you found out she follows a different religion?
It's not the religion, it's the principles, but yes, pretty much I can't remember a time I have ever been this soft.
Well, don't worry, Donald. I am staying hard for the both of us.
Heavy pause.
Now that's the biggest lie I have heard all day, Sleepy.
Jesus Christ.
And there's the way out.
Damn, boys, I hate to see her walk away, but I love watching her go, if you catch my meaning.
The camera angles don't lie. This was the right episode to take off of work and join you guys in.
You're working again, Bill. I thought you were retired. What are you working on now?
Yeah, I got rehired for consultation on Mass Effect 5 by Bioware after what happened in Veilguard marketing-wise. They want me to be an advisor and quality check expert, but a man needs his breaks too, you know.
Honestly, Bill, I'd prefer it if you didn't take as many breaks. Bioware needs all the help they can get now, so please lock in for us and the viewers here. Anyways, is the red-headed communist really giving us the option to leave here? I am genuinely surprised we can cut the adventure off early.
Joe, that is the 4th romance choice you have picked here, and the second in front of your elf wife. Are you still going to say it was an accident?
Yes, absolutely. My mouse sensitivity is too high.
In this case, I guess what they say about Hawk is, he is a massive elf slayer in the bedroom. This is the 3rd elf he has tried to bag and forth, implied with the elf slave girl you boys hired, and who publicly asked around for us in front of all the Hightown nobles.
Guess that confirms Bill does watch our videos, even when he's not a part of them. But back to your question, Donald. Yeah, the game does have an option where you can leave Talus and finish the DLC without her, but it's unfortunately all roads lead to Rome situation. No matter which path we choose, the first part of the final fight is different. But we still end up fighting the Duke with Talus, since the path back to Kirkwall is blocked by Selene. And the Duke's meeting conveniently, and Hawk doesn't just wait for them to pass, he makes his own path.
Yeah, it's a pretty big railroad, but it's still not as bad as the railroad that happens later if you are playing an aggressive Hawk that is against the qunari. I am not going to step into that debate, though, until the final fight. I don't want to get ahead of myself. For now, the game is giving us somewhat of a choice.
I just realized, does this quest change at all if you side with Petres? in Act 2 and do everything in your power to spread hate against the qunari.
It has absolutely no effect except for the fact Talus probably won't mention you being respected by the Urshak, which is another plot hole. But at least you can role-play Hawk once you find out that Talus's qunari is aggressive and anti-qunari. The game doesn't force you to be on their side, even if it does force a singular path.
That just leads us back to all roads leading to Rome Barak. Yeah, I appreciate Renegade Hawk trying his best to be based, but I can't help but realize that Bioware thought they were slick trying to make players more pro-qunari by making a cute redhead their spokesperson in this game. I mean, Joe already folded before the reveal even happened, and I bet her Tal Vashoth Master, who is the antagonist, is just the same buff self-righteous asshole as the Arishok was.
All right, fair enough, I did fold quickly. But Talus does make some good points here, and it's from someone who was failed in human society where she was made a slave. Qunari society definitely isn't a better alternative. But try telling that to elves that are slaves or are forced to live in slums.
I would buy that line if Fenris wasn't the CEO of slave oppression, and despite that, he still has beef with the communists.
Fenris doesn't speak for every elf, besides he has the tools to make it on his own thanks to his combat skills. Lyrium tattoos, not every elf can say that. You are somewhat right about Talus being the pro-qunari side, while her mentor, the Tal Vashoth, is a regular buff qunari. But I can't call him a villain. He doesn't seem to be doing this for selfish reasons, and he freed and mentored Talus for no other reason than to help her.
All right, well, I was still mostly on the money. Anyways, I already know what choice Joe is going to side with, but what's the decision split on siding versus abandoning Talus here? I imagine most people want her to fuck off by this point. There's not a huge pro-qunari movement in the squad.
After everything you've already done, why would I help you again?
Because I've got your nose.
The cube taught you that.
Well, actually, weirdly enough, unlike Legacy, no decision you make here affects party approval, except for some approval or rivalry for gathering or quest-relevant items. But sparing or killing the Baron, helping or leaving Talus in the final choice at the end, have no bearing on approval. The major difference is just what path you travel towards the Duke, and the dialogue at the end. I will say, though, that leaving Talus here is quicker and easier than siding with her.
Yeah, but guys, she has our nose. We have to help her now.
Joe, today has been such a day with you, I'm not even fully convinced if you are joking or not.
Well, if I don't side with her, I can't flirt with her and learn more about her. So that's the option I am picking.
I'll loyal to the elf booty till the end I see Joey. Anyways, I hope you boys are prepared to see the full Lady Gaga walk in action. The animators worked really hard to make the Baron extra sassy.
Oh, hell no, we don't do sloppy seconds on this channel. Especially to some random French dude. We already clapped up Donald, if you would be so kind as to end this to its conclusion.
Oh, hell yes, it's been a while later, bitch. King Crimson.
But I guess whatever you did, Donald, you wanted to watch this guy die this time.
We got cocked from it last time, but in the end he died to Hawk, so that's acceptable, and we cost him more guys in the long run.
Plus, this is the only way that gets us his unique weapon and armor. Not a bad day's work, boys.
It's so exciting to be out of Kirkwall. It seems we haven't left there in ages.
We do seem to spend a ridiculous amount of time in the city.
Oh, I needed this break. I was starting to think every part of Kirkwall looked alike.
I like how the game designers can poke a little fun at themselves for the repeating maps. It's a lot better than doubling down and telling us how expensive and difficult it is to make games and say that social media wanted us to fail.
It's good to joke about stuff like that. Besides, the repeating maps created one of the best fan-made drinking games ever created with our series.
I will drink to that. And hey, we finally have some qunari to fight in the expansion where they are supposed to be the main focus. At least they still remembered to add them in at the end.
Well, sadly, if we don't go with Talus, we don't fight these guys at all, and instead just fight a Wyvern and a few squads of Orlesians.
See, siding with the cutie Talus was the right call since Hawk and Meryl can easily solo all the horned dudes with their ice. And Nature's staff, this is a light warm-up for the final fight. Speaking of the lack of type diversity, though, it is kind of lame how the new enemy types all share weakness with a different enemy from the base game. I think only the secret boss and the Wyvern had an entirely new kit and resistances. Everything else has stat blocks from a regular enemy type.
So let's see if I can guess them. The Ghasts were Darkspawn, we already covered that. And the Orlesian guards were probably reskinned Templars, given the fact they had very identical abilities and even an assassin class. Also, thank God it's Asarvus here to finally skill check Joe. You are not finishing this DLC Deathless anymore, Sleepy. Sandel has finally blessed me with some justice and equality in this playthrough.
Oh, fuck not. The BGM Sith Master Boy's my balls, and my pants can't take this, the horror. Was supposed to be saved for next week in Dead Space.
Calm down, Joe. It's 2-on-1 for mages. And you have Meryl here with you. Not only can she disable everything the Qunari mage casts with horror and now dispel, but she also does increase damage since the mage is still weak to nature damage.
You're right, Barry, now is not the time to cower. We need to protect my cutie patootie from the Horned Men army. And BDSM mages, I need to lock in and show them the real power of magic.
All right, Joe, that was not at all what Obama said. But whatever locks you in here is fine by me, since we really can't afford to be stuck on a random qunari mage this late in the episode, even if all these shirtless dudes, tankier than the armored Orlesian soldiers. I guess they work their abs so hard that their core is strong enough to resist steel and magic.
They aren't as tanky as the goddamn human battering ram, Aveline. Her health has barely moved this entire fight, despite having multiple dudes on her. The Democrats are saved once again by the muscle mommies I hated here.
Healing Aura's peak. Let's cut ahead here and watch Talus get sappy with the ambush leader with the pointy beard.
Bioware think they are slick changing his model in the cutscene to look more unique when in-game this dude looked like the basic model. Anyway, Donald, you don't have to ask. I will translate this whole conversation. The leader says, glorious struggle, Ben Hazarath, to Talus basically saying, GG, good fight. And Talus then replies, I am alone, where is Salit? The leader replies, upholding the deal he is meeting at the summit with the base, a term used for qunari to describe people not of the Q1, at which Talus says thank you and goodbye before double tapping him.
This must have been a goddamn blessing for any blind viewers watching Obama, thanks. Well, let's go deal with the final confrontation and kill the horn guys and French dudes all at the same time.
Then we're going the wrong way.
That's my man, Bill. The kill count is about to be legendary. Hopefully none of these assholes comes alive and tries to take over our bodies. This time I need a goddamn break.
Probably not. Our editor is taking a break from that. Honestly, this big-ass open arena would be a perfect place for a well-placed explosion to take out all the trash at once.
Barry really wanted to be the universe where we play Mass Effect and just call in the Normandy here to blast everything. Anyways, at least these qunari practice their Duolingo tests, so they speak perfect English, no need to translate. I also like Salit's design. The red Viatar goes really hard with the blue sash and trim.
The Viatar makes it look like he slammed a ton of ribs before this encounter, which is kind of based if you really like ribs. Also, he put his weapons down before approaching the Duke, which is a huge sign of submission for qunari to do, since their weapons are their souls.
Imagine they opened it and it's just a QR code to his SoundCloud or his fitness blog.
Names, Your Grace. It's a list of names.
So is this horn dude trolling the French right now? Because between betraying the qunari and trolling these pricks, this guy may have just earned a one-way ticket to being my favorite character.
Well, that would be pretty based, but no, Talus reveals later that this list of names are the names of every single qunari sleeper agent operating in Orlais. It's in the free marches. He is trolling, though, by calling it a weapon when it's more of a tool.
I never noticed this before, but Talus straight Looney Tunes the shit out of the Duke there. And no one caught on because everyone is just staring at Hawk.
Maybe if she tried to use how distracting Hawk is from the start, this heist would have gone a lot more smoothly. Also, as we mentioned before, the biggest downside of the scene is it plays out the same regardless of whether you went with Talus or not.
That good hair joke is ironic as hell, since 2/3 of the time you two Democrats make Hawk bald.
He's always bald, Donald. It's just when you play him, you give him an Alistair wig.
Wait, hold on. I know the Duke is struck deaf and blind by Hawk's aura, but Salit has just been staring their blank face the whole time while Talus took off her mask and killed the shit out of the Duke's entire guard while saying absolutely nothing until Talus launched back up and did a anime pose on the pillar.
Bro said helping the French fight is not my job. Let them sort their shit out. He is a king of minding his own business.
Looks like minding his own business isn't going to end too well for him. The Duke sprayed some green jello on him, and green is Leopold's favorite flavor.
The Duke had an assassin and the champion of Kirkwall within murder knife distance of him, and yet he chose to prioritize the guy who put his weapons down and was helping him just for dramatic effect. This guy has the priority targeting of my ranked teammates.
It was an absolutely brain-dead battle IQ moment. Orlais is all about betrayal and backstabs. Maybe he felt like since Salit backstabbed him, he had to immediately double-cross him, even more to maintain his French Street cred.
I think the Duke's reaction is probably why the Bene Gesserit didn't want Talus stopping Salit. Prosper would have only cared about military technology. He wouldn't be able to do a damn thing with the names.
Well, that kind of makes all of Talus' anxiety kind of pointless in hindsight. But given she is qunari, that is just part of her culture. So not that I am complaining, but why the hell did Salit betray the qunari, lose his role in the Qun, and threaten to kill Talus over a list of spy names? It didn't look like he was getting paid for it. He just kind of did all of this for free.
Oh, I have no idea.
The fuck you mean I have no idea? You are our lore master. If you can't answer basic questions like that, then we might as well turn off the series and end it here.
Fuck that, Donald. Then they wouldn't see the peak of me ending this boss fight and scoring with Talus.
Well, look, we know virtually nothing about Salit that doesn't have to do with Talus. She never tells us a motive as to why he left or why he is ratting out other spies. And we don't get a motive before he dies, since the Duke wasn't paying him or giving him anything in return. We know Salit isn't just some evil asshole since he freed Talus and raised her before knowing she would be useful to him. We know Talus and the Qunari were going to play a major role in Exalted March, so maybe that was originally supposed to be discovered later. But as is, I have no idea what this guy's motivations are.
I always thought they just made Salit betray the Qunari since he is Talus's mentor. And it's good for that drama high that Dragon Age 2 is always chasing. I admit I am long out of my writing element. When the DLCs came out, I was already out the door. But instead, the only reasons we can have for siding with the Qunari here is if we think Talus is cute, or we like how the Qunari give greater opportunities to elves than human society does.
There's a bit more to it in the lore if you do dive into the Qun. And I think it's a good place to figure out the reason Salit betrayed his people. We know that originally in Exalted March, the Chantry was going to be in conflict with the Qunari again, and Talus was going to be involved. We also know in Trespasser that the Qunari start gearing for war against the rest of Thedas with the Dragon's Breath project. And one of the main parts of that plan is Qunari spies planting explosives across Thedas. Maybe Salit learned about this plan and thought that war wasn't the right path for his people, since there would be massive casualties on both sides.
You might be onto something, Joe, although Salit's plan is instead of soldiers getting killed in the war, his spies are going to get killed instead, so I don't know if he really thought this out. Also, that means Hawk reclaiming this list, where the Qunari kind of directly causes the Dragon's Breath plan to be carried out in Trespasser, which would have made the Kirkwall Chantry explosion look like a shaken soda can.
All right, Joe, where is the teleprompter? There's no way your ass just theory crafted an elaborate explanation and defense for Salit's actions when Obama could barely come up with anything. I mean, who writes this shit?
Well, I thought it was a good theory, Joe, and worthy of a comment question that our viewers can debate about. But Donald has a point. How the hell did you come up with all of this Qunari lore when you have barely played Inquisition and the only lore you've liked so far is Chantry and Mage lore?
I went to a convention and this cute Talus cosplayer gave me this pamphlet. And more on Qunari doctrine, it's really an eye-opener. Like, honestly, individuality seems overrated now, boys.
Joe, I am reading this pamphlet in addition to Qunari lore. It also talks about tithing and signing over the deed to your house. Because ownership is irrelevant, I am pretty sure this is a cult. It wouldn't be the first time they use a pretty girl to attract new members.
No way. Would a cult offer bonus gifts depending on how much you donate to them, as well as offering you multiple wifes?
Yes.
Oh shit, I need to try and get my money back, then Jill is going to be pissed after I invested in that permanently cold ice cream scam.
Well, before you try to get your pennies and quarters back, Sleepy, can you hurry up and take out the French dude, please? It's already been almost 10 minutes, and we have barely talked about the fight itself. Just the shirtless dude who became Lizard Chow.
Not really too much to say. This is only the first stage of the fight. We still have 2 more after this, since the game really likes to combine 3 stages of a fight, with the final battle implementing strategies from the first 2, just like how the Corypheus fight had 3 stages.
My poison on Leopold worked, though it makes the second stage way easier and less annoying.
This fight is definitely less flashy, but overall more fun than the Corypheus fight. There's far less monologuing and more rewarding mechanics too. One thing I don't get, though, is he attacks with a repeating hand crossbow that launches explosives and green Gatorade. How the hell did he even get his hands on a repeating crossbow that behaves the same as Varric's crossbow, that is supposed to be one of a kind?
Good question, Bill. Let's see if our lore master can go 0 and 2 here for explaining the plot holes in this game. He needs to redeem himself here.
Oh, god damn it, that's another hard one. This is really why I don't like the ending of this DLC, even if the fight is fun. Well, crossbows have been around since Origins, and despite his animations being similar to Varric's, I imagine that was more of a gameplay limitation. The crossbow seems to attack way slower than Varric's most of the time, with the upside being he can change the type of ammunition he fires, ranging from arrows, bombs, and green goo. And as for how he got a device, well, he is very close with the Empress, so he would have access to this kind of technology. It's not an insane reach to think someone could pay their way towards an improved hand crossbow design.
If that's true, then the Empress probably knows him in the same personal manner that she knows Callian. They probably bang on the regular. I mean, that's how she got put into power in the first place, right?
Not really. She was put into power at 16. That would be weird. A lot of her seductions came later in her life when she learned to play the game. And honestly, she mostly gets away by just flirting and convincing men she will marry them, like she did in Ferelden with Callian. All of that can be talked about in Inquisition, however, for now. Back to your question, Bill. Yes, Prosper is very close with the Empress, not only because that's her cousin, but because he was instrumental in Celine's ascension in the throne, by helping her through the game and her payback for an assassin killing her mother.
The Amorlays has a shit ton of assassinations happen every day. Donald, if this is too triggering for you, then you can let us know. I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Joe, I would sooner sell my left nut than deal with anything Orlesian, especially being their leader. I already have enough snakes and crooked politicians to deal with. I don't need that paired with killer musicians and funny accents. If this dude is so cool with the Empress, though, why doesn't she attempt to spin the block and send her own killer musicians after us?
Killer musicians? Donald, do you mean the bards?
Oh, right, they are called that. I got so used to calling Leliana Basic Bard, I genuinely forgot that was their job title.
Classic Donald, I can't even be surprised anymore. But coincidentally, the Duke does warn us that the Empress would seek revenge for his death. And normally he would be right, but first we are the champion of Kirkwall, so good luck with that. And secondly, if she did do that, she would have to admit she knew something about the Duke's deal with the Qunari. And that would look terrible for her considering how everyone is afraid and hates them.
Politics strike again in this game where we are always wrapped up in politics when we aren't wrapped up in waifus or daddy issues. Anyway, what in the fresh hell has this fight turned to? Hawk has a green goo indicator on him, and that means the Wyvern slowly chases after him at the speed of 3 snails being pushed by 2 snails. Is this supposed to be some kiting tutorial or something?
Kiting is always a staple of Dragon Age games, so making a move that causes the enemy to focus on a single target isn't the most absurd concept ever. However, the bright green indicator is overdoing it, as well as the fact because we poisoned Leopold's food, they are extra slow for this fight making. Everything way easier than it should be.
Bioware really wanted to prove to everyone that they could make a ring around the Rosie fight more tedious than the Corypheus fight. And they delivered. I have to applaud their effort to the game.
Look, all I know is this fight is basically the same as the Wyvern fight at the start of this DLC, so if this is all the French have to fight the champion, then I am going to take another Deathless episode.
Well, since my bestie isn't here, I will be the one to say it. This sounds like a lot of heavy foreshadowing. Joe, let's see if you can prove it.
Oh, well, it's time for the final phase, Joe. Let's see it, then good luck. Also, my How to Train Your Dragon comparison has come full circle. There you go, viewers.
Wait, hold on. They combine into one dude with a new health bar. I thought this was Presidents Play Dragon Age, not Presidents Play goddamn Pokemon Infinite Fusion. Why the hell can't I fight these two separately with the health bars I worked so hard to lower now? They get a final big one.
Joe, it's a middle-aged French dude riding a dragon. You're acting like this is Vegito with the Ascended God buff. Just lock in already and do the same thing you have been doing. You are lucky enough to make it work.
Joe, you know those blinking bombs aren't just for show, right? Like they have an actual purpose and are about to make Obama rise in the East. If you catch my meaning.
Oh, fuck off. Like they hit the second wave from America will never be the same.
Well, fuck that explosion. Looks so goddamn good. God, I wish that were me right now.
Hey, Orange Man. See if you can grab that crossbow for me before the episode ends. I have something funny I want to try later with it that will prove once and for all that enchantment is better than the chantry.
Hey, Barack, when you're done gooning over the explosion, I have a question. Hypothetically, can we loot the lore breaking hand crossbow off the French dude after this fight? That seems like a really cool reward for ending this DLC that took 3 hours.
I didn't need to clean myself off. It's just the fact that game recognizes game. But unfortunately, nothing that Duke Prosper has is lootable. In fact, after the fight, we don't even get a chance to loot or change our equipment off Talus. So Joe, before this fight is over, make sure you remove the accessories off her so we don't lose some of the good equipment we gave her for the secret boss.
That is absolutely devious of Bioware to not even give the player the chance to loot the Duke or anything else after the fight.
Yeah, make sure you do that in your second try since Hawk is down now and you are completely cooked sleepy.
Oh, lick my nuts. See, I am ushering him off the cliff just fine.
Let's cut ahead here and see the fruits of your mastery, Joe.
I'm cool under fire even after our healer is down. Oh no, Talus is down, but this wasn't like the simulations. Marrow, bark, bark, bark. Bark, honka, honka. All is well.
Yep, usual ending, all is right. With the world balance is restored. Now none of us have done more than one Deathless episode.
Yeah, small elf gets plowed and ran a train on by old French dude, uncensored. That scene really is a if I had a nickel moment.
All right, that line definitely gets us canceled. It's been a good run. But I guess ending this series before we kill another Orlesian noble is as good a place as any to end.
God damn it, I was really hoping I would be able to end this episode Deathless Boys. How the hell am I supposed to impress Talus enough so she won't ever forget about me if I fumbled right at the end?
Okay, Joe, again, if Talus isn't blighted or a spirit, she has no connection to be aware. So if you thought you were going to actually impress the pre-programmed AI with your Deathless run, then I am worrying about your mental capacity.
Not to be a asshole, but technically Talus is a spirit berry, so I mean, you never really know.
God damn it, Bill, that is not only spoilers, but it is not at all helping trying to lock back in Joe to the real world, but whatever. For Joe, just keep doing what you are doing, in trying to impress Talos as long as you avoid the bombs. And pay attention when the Duke is charging you should be fine. This phase can be even easier than the last two if you abuse the ledge mechanic. While he is doing that, Donald, do you have another topic to cover here?
Yeah, sure, I have one that has been on my mind since this commie revealed she lied to us. What do we think about Talos? Like, where would we rank her on the squad mate list?
Right under Meryl, which would be my preferred position for her in general, if you catch my meaning.
That's my man, Joe.
Jesus, I walked right into that one.
Well, hey, if it wasn't going to be you, it was going to be me, Donald. But as for my ranking, I would say somewhere above the Hawk sibling and Sebastian, but she doesn't really beat anyone else. For she offers a different qunari perspective, which is very much needed because of how fascinating their society is. But they have been incredibly bare bones as a villain like Tevener, and she also has a decent backstory. However, it's not fully explored in this DLC, so it's hard to rate her properly on a companion list.
A decent chunk of her character is shown in the live-action web series Dragon Age Redemption, and while not exactly tied to this DLC, it does expand more on her storyline.
Joe, did you actually watch that web series trying to find lore on Talos? Not only is that web series incredibly lore inaccurate, but it also did not age well and is a victim of the time and online nature of its platform.
I watched it hoping Felicia Day would sing a few songs, but honestly, I just spent the entire 45 minutes just staring at her outfit and her red hair. I still followed the plot pretty well, if you want me to summarize it. So the viewers who don't want to look at Felicia Day don't have to watch it.
Is anyone banging this film?
Nope, most we get is a kiss. It's YouTube friendly, not including all the gore.
All right, cool, then I don't care.
Is there any value to summarizing the web series? I mean, is it even canon? I am pretty sure the whole thing was just a marketing tool to get more people to buy Dragon Age. I remember Lightlaw said the whole project spending was EA's third tax write-off for that year.
Oh, believe me, I am on your side, Bill, but it would be a nice end to wrap up Talos' character.
All right, viewers, pour another bowl of hot cocoa or lean, because this SparkNote story is about to hit hard. So the story is about Talos being reinstated to her role to track a qunari mage who has escaped Chantry control despite being Cerebus. Unlike Ketosian or most Cerebus, though, this one still has his tongue. And Mouth on Sony just has the normal chains before finding a way to remove them. While tracking him, Talos meets a Templar named Karen hunting the same mage, and they team up together to find him. Along the way, they find out the mage has stolen an elven artifact known as the Dreadwolf's Mask. And like every goddamn thing Solus makes, of course, this thing can tear the veil when exposed to elf blood. The first of the Dalish clan that lost the mask also joins her squad to save his waifu that was captured to supply the blood for the ritual. Believe me, that is important later.
All right, so another elven artifact was stolen, and elf blood is needed for the thing to work. This already sounds like the plot of Witch Hunt Boys.
You might have a point, Donald, but I am leaning, so why don't you hop off and let me finish?
Joe, you are leaning. What the hell does that have to do with the story that doesn't even?
Leaning my dick into your face, Obama. Boom gun.
Oh, goddammit, Joe, I wasn't even the one interrupting you. Unnecessary friendly fire.
Yeah, well, you still fell for it, so as long as it gets a laugh from the boys, it was worth it. Anyways, back to finishing my story, Talos' squad eventually tracks down the mage, and the first girlfriend both. The elf tries to save his waifu, but for no goddamn reason, the girlfriend turns on them. And rats out Talos' group to the mage, apparently developing Stockholm Syndrome to the qunari enough in a few days to turn on her boyfriend.
These elves ain't loyal, chat.
A fight occurs and the girlfriend ends up getting stabbed, which is enough blood to trigger the mask to activate. And the veil starts tearing similar to Solus' ritual or the Terran Inquisition. In order to stop the ritual from completing, Talos destroys the mask. But as she is about to be struck by a spell, the Templar jumps in the way, sacrificing himself for her as he had developed feelings for her over the course of their journey. Talos ends up collaring the mage again, who tries to say that the qunari made him nothing. But a killer so, of course, that is all he knows. Talos avenges her friend's death by killing him while he is collared. This is a massive problem because Talos was supposed to take the mage alive for correction under the qunari. The whole reason the movie was called Redemption is this is her redemption mission to not be declared Tal Vashoth, or worse, becoming a mindless laborer, and she failed. However, none of that ends up mattering because here she is again, not demoted or Tal Vashoth while still not following orders.
All right, that settles it. This character is a commie and makes no goddamn sense. Iron Bull, while still being a commie, is way better and at least has dire consequences for his actions. That probably wasn't even the only plot hole either. I can see why people have beef with celebrity cameos.
I definitely think the movie is filled with worse plot holes than the DLC, as in this Talos actually conveys her conflicts with the qunari, and she has flaws while still being more lore accurate. The live-action movie, on the other hand, reads as almost fan fiction. And while sure Talos has conflict with her order, she seems far less interested in the positives of the qunari, or with her place in the Q1.
You know, some viewers in our Discord have been saying we have gotten them into reading more of the novels. Our editor even happily provides the books you should start with. It's pretty dope. Them reading almost inspires me to start reading more too. I have the free time now and it can't hurt. At least we would be able to challenge Barry more on the lore.
I will just have my staffers summarize that shit. I don't have the time with my presidency right now, but you're right, we need to challenge Barack more on his facts, now that we know he has holes in his knowledge. Plus, we definitely need to make a tier list of the novels at some point, too.
Donald, please don't suggest any more tier list. We just got done with 4 of our biggest projects to date. And we are close to finishing up one last ambitious project in our 2 series in Dead Space and Dragon Age 2. We need a moment to catch our breath first.
Well, speaking of lists, don't you guys go over tactical setups for every companion? Why not do that for Talos while we still have the chance?
Oh, well, we didn't do a build last episode for Carver simply because we don't spend enough time using the squad mate for a tactical setup, for a build to really make sense. Not to shit on you too hard, Joe, but replaying Mark makes me realize that it is somewhat easier than Legacy. I think the final bosses are about the same difficulty, but the overall fights with Mark are far easier, especially if you go the stealth route. For Talos build and tactics, instead of doing a completely in-depth guide, I will just say, treat her with a similar build as a rogue archer. Max speed and subterfuge, and get blindside and then prioritize her infiltrator specialization since it's outright busted with its damage and immunities that it gives Talos.
Damn, so you are telling me Joe doesn't have a chance of dying 2 more times to tie up with me and make the final episode more interesting?
Not a chance. I'm locked in and bro is falling just like Donald did going up Air Force 1 stairs. Welcome to the presidential nerf that you ran for Double D.
Joe, you have collapsed a dozen times on stairs. Don't you dare fucking compare us, because I slightly slipped once we have all done that. Besides, we each have 1 more episode together in the finale to fully decide who is the best waifu.
First off, Donald, who is I don't speak French. And secondly, while that's technically true, I doubt any of us is going to get a death before the final episode. I am going to play the Blood Mage hunt, so you don't have to worry about being in danger there. But for right now, we all need to sweat and hope Joe fucks up hard on his episode or the Orsino fight.
Bro really tried the same damn thing a 10th time, thinking it would work out better. He deserves this L.
1 more unique kill for the Road Boys.
This guy is repeating what I said to the California governor, except I am not French, so my words actually have weight.
That's not the only thing that has weight. Also, if we were playing Mass Effect right now, there would probably be a Paragon interrupt to try and save him, same as the Shepard clone.
Bro really should have tried to beg for mercy and hope for a Paragon Hawk moment, instead of threatening us when he is about to plummet to his death.
Thank you for the lovely party. I'll treasure the belt.
Yeah, Aveline and Meryl really want to see it happen 7 years with Hawk has made them completely desensitized to normal violence.
Well, I don't think you'll survive that.
Looks like the Duke has fallen from grace.
Yeah!
Yes, viewers, Hawk just did a CSI Miami Horatio Kane one-liner. We had to end with 1 more ear rape song.
What he nearly had in his grasp.
Meryl and Aveline didn't even laugh. They thought that shit was corny, even for Hawk also. Now that she lost her father figure in Salid, you have sufficient trauma and daddy issues to make it on our squad. We will have Varric make you a matching t-shirt.
Sadly, Varric doesn't have the t-shirt supplies for 1 more member. And Bioware didn't have the monetary supplies to keep her around. So that's a wrap on our cute nerdy elf.
All right, since she is leaving theirs, 1 bit of praise I can give the commie. She is a pretty good setup for Iron Bull and the Ben Hassereth. I will give her that much also. What's that option up top if we tell her to give us the scroll, Obama?
So in one of the biggest railroad moments to exist in this game, if we demand the scroll back from Talos, she will just shrug and give us the heart of the many, which apparently appeases Hawk enough to not care about the scroll anymore, and they will let Talos walk away. Even if we are an aggressive Hawk and have threatened to kill Talos earlier, the top option shows a attack symbol implying Hawk is going to kill Talos. But again, she just tosses us the jewel and Hawk shrugs and lets her go as well. I appreciate the option being there, but the fact we can't kill her here is a massive story negative.
Origins, and by extension, POTUS would have definitely followed through with the murder knife option, squad mate, or no?
POTUS was good friends with Sten. I doubt he would kill Talos or have any reason to stress over the list. I know some actors contractually demand that their character doesn't die in games and movies, but Felicia Day doesn't feel like that type of person. They probably kept her alive so she could make an appearance in the now defunct Exalted March, since they didn't know yet it was going to be canceled.
True, but you could kill Oberyn and Leliana in Origins, and they still think of reasons to bring them back, so I would have preferred that. Even if having the list makes Hawk a target and he loses it later or something.
Okay, Joe, I see you clenching your mouse and keyboard like you are about to break it. You thought you could have both, couldn't you, with the flirt option?
Not at all. I always knew that was the outcome. I just did it so we can see my cutie patootie stand up for her man.
Yeah, I don't buy that shit for a moment, but with that, our DLC grind is over. What's the amulet do, by the way, Obama?
Well, the Heart of the Many is a scaled amulet that gives strength dexterity. And magic up to a leveled amount, probably one of the worst accessories in the game, since on any character you give it to, only one stat is going to be useful as the other two. Don't help the other classes at all, as stats in this game are linked to what class you play. It would have been far stronger if the 3 stats it boosted were Con, Willpower, and Cunning, since at least then each class could have some use for it.
Kind of lame, but we didn't do this for the gem, we did it for the girl. We're getting pretty close to the end, though, aren't we, boys?
This death competition isn't over yet, boys.
Yes, we are, but before we announce that, let's have Varric wrap it up, then we can get to the outro.
I suppose she was pretty for a qunari. Whatever the reason, I doubt it's the last we've seen of her. But what do I know? I just tell stories.
All right, viewers, thank you all for watching. We had a week delay from this episode because of its sheer length. But the good news is no other episode in 2 should take this long, and we are hoping to be on a weekly episode train until we reach the end of 2, in Dead Space. Speaking of next week, we are going back into Dead Space before we do one final rotation of 2, so look forward to a high volume of shorter content. Don't forget to leave your comment question on what companion you would like to see return in Inquisition, as well as a like to thumb my ass and a sub to keep up to date. And just to thank Fox for the 2-hour back-to-back videos he's made. Also join his Discord if you want video previews or Dragon Age and video game discussions. It's a great community. But for now, stay safe, Biden out.